Shave. Which screen am I putting it on? I'm putting it on this one. I'm putting it here.
Hi, I'm I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2.
Hi, John.
To CGG Live. We have a huge amount of stuff to share today, so it's going to be a good one. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim the Red Queen's font hideout decoration by following the instructions below. Okay, so with that out of the way, time to roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, Return of the Ancients.
Those in darkness once lay dormant, now return. We who came before rise again.
Okay. So that's the Burning Monolith.
The first edict.
New endgame quest for the Origins of Divinity. New endgame areas. New Arbiter Pinnacle boss. Rework 2, Ritual, Rite of the Nameless. Full rework to the Foretold Prolifications. And a new Pinnacle boss in the Darkness. New endgame quest with reworked Breach with Waking the Dreamer. Genesis Tree is in the game, and oh my god, is it thick! Wait a minute, hold on, Mr. Postman. That is the bottom of the tree? Okay. So you've got a wound gif on the bottom. That's a separate one. Got two on the bottom. Another one on the full bottom of the tree. Another two pieces on the segments above that. And even more trees on top. Breach has been reworked. And new Pinnacles. Reworked to Delirium with a new quest for the Hare and the Raven. Elder Maddox's fat ass got off the mountain. We have proper mirrors. Doesn't seem like a lot of clusters. We got a new Delirium boss, which I'm assuming is the motherfucker finally choosing to fight us. We're getting Runes of Alder, and that means we're getting a rework of the original Expedition system with Cal Gurren versions of the skills. Yes, sir. I like those. Yes. And there's a rework to the bosses, with them bringing back the original arenas and techniques and skills. Now we get to explore the ocean. And there's a new Expedition Pinnacle boss that involves probably where they get the material.
Hunt like it's your last.
Okay, so all of the different members from the intermissions are now becoming new members of the Order of the Gen. So
Hunt like it.
Hilda's hunting. She comes from the Crykirk Mountain Peak.
It's your last.
Yato's Finecraft, being a member that comes from the Order of the Jinn in this era.
Continue the search. See what
Doriani is now being considered official partner with his science since 0.4. These are Atlas classes.
you can find.
And these are the three masters of the Atlas in this time. Okay? Ball Temple's going core. Atlas Abysses. Don't know what that means. But I guess that means the entire zone is the content. So,
Can find.
Ball Temple goes core. And that means there's entire areas that are committed to Atziri. If it's not an entire vault, I will fucking be angry if it's just a vault. Hello, Pip. So then, Atlas Abysses are just the entire zone being dominated, and it's not just a few connections. They actually have it all look like it belongs to the Abyss. Or the Lichborn, rather. More bosses added to the endgame.
Now see how your story ends.
The Reckless tree has now been fully reworked to look even prettier. Additional new crafting systems involving rune forging. Spirit Walker Ascendancy is now out, so that's a total of 3 to the Amazon. Hopefully you guys reworked Ritual, because Ritualist does not feel good. Got Lightning. Martial Artist Ascendancy, please be good. He has echoes. Oh, he has echoes. Oh, that's cute. Oh, that's good. That's going to be a really big clear skill. I hope that's not just specific to him and that you can get some of that on all of them. Because I love my boy. Purple. I love the purple drink, but please, let it be good because I don't want to play an Invoker. Invoker is so fucking boring. Got more uniques. And they color the skin and the body. Paste. And much more. Which has to be part of the lore. Doesn't seem like they've done anything to say anything about Act 5 and 6.
To face us is to face oblivion.
Delicious, delicious, very delicious. Can't wait for May 29th.
So as you can see, there's just so much going on in Return of the Ancients, it's hard for even us to keep track of it all. Now we promise that this one...
So, we've got 5 in-game storylines that involve the main atlas, and all 4 pieces of the parts that have to do with current existing content trees that have been reinvigorated and brought up to scale. You've got Kalgarin skills in the League. You've got crafting runes in the League. You have a rework of the Azimite remnants. You've got the ability to explore the Uncharted Seas. You've got new Atlas node trees. You've got new items. You even have a build planner and quality of life features. You've got 2 new Ascendancy classes in the Spirit Walker and the Martial Artist, which is going to make this their balanced patch to be tested. And with this, you have a full update and reinvigoration to Delirium, to Breach, to the overall mapping of the game, to the overall questing of the game, that apparently is going to take us into the direction of the first Edict. You have a rework of Ritual, and I have no idea what the madness of the Atlas could be, but please let it be something decent.
One was going to revamp the endgame, and I'm very excited to talk about it. But first, we've got to talk about the League. So to do that, I'm going to hand things over to Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts.
Hi,
Game
Mark.
Director on Path of Exile. Now, for those of you who are new to Path of Exile, each time we release an update, we also release a new league. Not only do we have a new economy, but we also introduce new content through the campaign, which gives you a fresh play experience right from the start of the game, as well as new mechanics, storylines, and in-game bosses. In the Runes of Eldur League, you will encounter a man being attacked by the undead in Clearfell. After saving him, he introduces himself as Pharaoh, a young blacksmith trying to bring back the ancient art of Ezomite runesmithing. He has been collating his discoveries in a tome and is keen to show you how runesmithing works. By inscribing symbols on these ancient Ezomite remnants, you can create all manner of old magics. Unfortunately, on doing so, the corpses of the nearby undead are revived and infused with some of the latent power, making for a difficult fight. After defeating these monsters, Pharaoh realizes that runesmithing is a dangerous business, and he is going to need the help of someone a little more martially inclined to discover these secrets.
Okay.
He lends you his tome and asks that you note down anything you discover when you return to him. In each area in the Runes of Aldur League, you will find a remnant, and as you approach it, you will notice that some symbols are already present, and some are waiting for you to fill them in. Depending on which symbols are already present, you will have different options for which items you can create using this magic. For example, if you combine Tempest and Lightning, you can create an Orb of Augmentation. But be careful. The symbols used to craft the items also empower the monsters around the remnant, who will be revived as undead to fight again with different properties depending on what runes you used. So, if you use a fire rune in your recipe, the monsters will be empowered with fire. Or if you use a moon rune, lunar beams will rain down as you fight the monsters. After the fight, break the remnant to receive the item you crafted. As you get higher level, you will start to find remnants with more slots for more runes.
This is a very awkward system of rune crafting because it feels like rune words, but it's not actually rune words. But I suppose if this is how you want people to be able to access more of the rune system, and then also this new artifice crafting, well, it beats benching.
Allowing you to craft rarer items. As the number of slots increases though, more waves of monsters will be added, with each wave being empowered by more and more of the runes. And this can get pretty dicey, because some of the runes can have powerful effects. Like the Oath rune, which will cause one monster to be nominated as a leader, spawning waves of minions. The leader itself will be invincible, but killing its minions will deal damage to it. Some recipes can get pretty large, requiring 6, 7, or even 8 runes. But don't worry, you won't have to remember them. Pharaoh's runecrafting book will record all the options, allowing you to simply pick which one you want to craft, given the existing runes that are already on the remnant. To expand your knowledge and to allow you to craft more items, Pharaoh has asked that you keep an eye out for signs of runic magic around Rayclast.
And this is where the runestones actually start mattering now.
Anything you find in order to rediscover the secrets of Ezomite runesmiths of old. The first of these can be found in Ogham, and reveals to you an ancient secret, buried deep underground. The runic magic which the Ezomites believe to be their own is actually of Kalguran origin. Thousands of years ago, the Kalgurans came to Rayclast to find sources of Verisium, a metal on which engraved runes allow control over reality. Pharaoh is determined to learn these ancient ways and gain mastery over them. If you can bring him more Verisium, he will be able to use it to smith power into any armor, granting you Runic Ward, the power harnessed by the Kalgurans since ancient times. Runic Ward is a new resource that protects you from death. Should you run out of life, your Runic Ward will kick in, sustaining your body until your life can return. It effectively acts as an extra life pool. Of course, should you take enough damage to run out of that, you will still die.
Okay.
Every single piece of armor in the game can be upgraded this way. Even uniques.
Okay.
Some are just a strict upgrade, giving Runic Ward with no downside. Others are more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get a much larger amount of Runic Ward. There are even
Let me read that back.
others are
Did you do something with your hair, Carl? It has a strange hat-like consistency for some reason. Well, yes, I did. I went over to my girl's place for some MILF and Nookie, and it came back like this. Yes. Let's see here. This reads the brass dome. You have 482 life on this, with negatives, and 202 threshold with no extra from hits.
more extreme, sacrificing defenses to get a much larger amount of Runic Ward.
Okay, so you transform this into Runic Ward, thus losing the armor and gaining the stat. It keeps the other stat and thus becomes a method of supplying a way to survive through death. For entropy-based evasion builds, this could be a way to inject something into your pool to keep you alive. But I'm going to have to see it in action to really trust this.
There are even some that add new modifiers to uniques entirely, making them much more viable for higher level play.
So we've got a Radiant Reef, which is a form of the skill that they haven't brought over yet. You are increasing the ignite magnitude. It keeps the evasion, adds a little Runic Ward, and thus makes your build stronger with its ignites.
But the Kalgurans use Runic Ward for more than just a defense. It can also be used to power many other magics. Instead of using gems created from corruption, the Kalgurans used runes of power and fueled them with Runic Ward. Many of the options available from Remnant crafting are new types of Kalguran skills that exclusively spend Runic Ward to wreak havoc. An example is Triskelion Cascade. Using it will cause your next spell to be triggered multiple times in a Triskelion pattern. You can use it with skills like Ice Nova that you cast from yourself, or with something you target at a distance, like Comet. There are also skills to modify existing effects using runic magic, like Frost Flame Nova.
Unleash a wave of volative ice that feeds on flame. While the flame doesn't deal damage, the ice latches to ignited enemies, refreshing the duration of the active ignite and rapidly freezing, but preventing them from being ignited further while the ignite expires, or until the ignite expires. Create the ice, latch onto an ignited enemy you've already dealt damage to, refresh the duration of the active ignite, thus dealing more ignite damage, and having the ability to rapidly freeze them solid, but prevent them from being ignited further until the first ignite expires, meaning you cannot overwrite it by reapplying it.
Using this skill on a pack of burning enemies will transform the ignite into Frostfire, both burning them and building up freeze at the same time. You have basic buffs like Hollow Shell that guards all nearby allies,
Good for minion masters.
to more complicated mechanics like the Mark of Repulsion.
Mark a target with the Verisian rune. Dealing damage to the enemy or killing it outright causes the mark to activate, triggering an explosion to the dealer damage and applies significant knockback on any of the enemies near the marked target. It activates when the marked enemy is dealt damage that is equal to 100% of its ailment threshold, and it is limited to mark that target in an area that looks like a shockwave slam.
That creates a mark capable of pushing away all nearby enemies. Instead of spending mana, like skill gems do, all these skills cost Runic Ward, and unlike gems, they don't have a color.
Kappa.
This means that they don't care about attribute requirements. or what kind of weapon you use.
Based.
These skills are designed to be used on any class, and so often interact with mechanics that apply across many characters. By combining different runes together, the Kalgurans were able to support their runic abilities, and you can as well. There is also a set of runic supports that can be combined with regular skill gems.
Supporting attacks. This costs additional 20 of runic ward, but they will deal physical damage equal to the amount of runic ward you spend. Sticking it on a rolling slam as a startup with lacerate. I don't know if that's heavy swing. Fist of War, Aftershock.
In interesting ways. Concussive runes allows you to add these concussive shockwaves to any skill that stuns. While Runic Infusion lets you spend ward to directly empower the damage on any skill. Now, there are other quests during the campaign too that unlock even more interesting crafting methods. Buried deep in the jungle in Act 3, you can find the Mystic Refuge, containing even more secrets for Pharaoh to learn from. Using this knowledge, he gains the ability to reforge unique weapons.
Okay.
With this technique, many low-level unique weapons can be upgraded to do significantly more damage. Now,
I mean, that's kind of a way to bring your weapons into a meaningful level of damage. Because some of the problems with the meeting point on a lot of these uniques, it's kind of like Nadir's Judgment. You get a Bloodright pull that gives you a quarterstaff at Act 1 that lets you deal bleed. Really nice, really cool. But you can't use it any more further than maybe mid-Act 2. And then if you're lucky to find a Nadir's Judgment, or buy one, yeah, you can stick it with multiple physical and it'll carry you all the way through the campaign. But what if I wanted to do things like use Changeling Talismans to play a partial Druid playstyle? Well, you can't do it. It's 200 levels. It's not going to be as valuable. Since a lot of the damage on these talismans control the potential of the damage on the build. This is a way to upgrade it. Granted, this is something that's going to come from the mid-game. So, not for the League starter character.
we've been able to take a bunch of uniques that had interesting modifiers, but were not in-game viable, and give them a bit of a boost to get there. And it's not just low-level uniques. All Kalguran uniques are able to be runeforged this way too.
It's kind of cool, especially for something like Double Vision, because Gemini Surge is strong enough to be a build on its own. Bringing it up to that same level encourages use of it into endgame play. It's already supposed to be in-game play, but it doesn't feel like it based on the damage of everything else.
And they can do some pretty interesting things, like Searle's Grit, a new unique.
Searle's Grit, Runic Tempering, baseline 6084, gets upgraded to 86, 120, 868, 126, has 3 sockets, has additional physical damage and strength, gets improved to have a maximum quality of 40, skills which empower an attack, have a chance to not count that attack. Empowering attacks. Combustion comes to mind, but it's not going to be as strong. Infusions? My brain's thinking infusions. Additional physical thorn per active protective rune. But the upgrade says 48 to 80 added physical thorns damage per runic plate. So I'm assuming runic plate means each rune inserted. Is this for Thorns characters, I imagine?
Which, when runeforged, can get one of several different outcomes. Now, there is still so much more that you can craft with remnants. There are also 100 new runes, as well as many other new crafting currencies. This is the runes of Eldur after all, and some of these runes have quite powerful effects. For example, this elemental conversion rune will convert
Breath of Aldor. Martial weapon wand or staves, when socketed, can transform all fire and lightning modifiers to equivalent cold modifiers, outright removing, or actually outright improving them so that it's pure cold. If there's one for all three, this is going to make it easier to make lightning and fire staves just as much as it is cold staves.
convert all the existing mods on a non-unique weapon from one element to another. Using it, you could combine a weapon with all three elemental damage mods into a single element, making a weapon with massive amounts of cold damage.
Yes. Now, does it keep the mods? That's the real question.
There is also a rune that lets you destroy your rune sockets to turn them into a dual socket on your item. And there are even crafting meta runes that can unlock new types of mods when used with regular crafting. For example, this Rune of Chronomancy will unlock a set of time-related mods to be crafted on your boots. Once placed inside, use regular crafting orbs to attempt to get new mods like cooldown speed or increased skill effect duration.
Okay.
You can also create a new type of currency called alloys. Using regular metals alloyed with verisium, new modifiers not normally available can be directly crafted onto your items.
Yes, because the essence system was already so easy. Let's complicate it. Let's just extrally complicate it, bro. No problem.
Using imbued alloy could improve your ailment damage, for example. There are honestly so many options here that unlock all sorts of crazy crafting projects. So I think people will be experimenting with these for a long time. Once you get to King's March in Act 4, Pharaoh finally meets Danig, a real Kalguran runesmith. And riddled with excitement, he wants to learn how to merge modern Kalguran techniques with the ancient knowledge that he has found. From here on, Pharaoh joins in the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been leading. With the ancient knowledge that Pharaoh brings to the table, the Kalguran expeditions that Danig has been going on will change significantly. For those of you who haven't played it, the Expedition League mechanic involves carefully placing explosives, uncovering the buried dead, and recovering verisium from them. By choosing where to place the explosives, you can choose which kind of challenges you would like to face, or rewards you would like to claim. But unlike before, expeditions now contain the remnants from Runes of Eldur, allowing...
Which is another way of saying we've reworked Expedition in your face. Honestly, the old system was just, hey, here's a modifier you have to play around. Oh, did we brick your build?
you to do some specific crafts along the way using the new League crafting mechanic. One very important difference from the simple Remnant encounters, though, is that the empowerments that the Remnants grant apply to every monster down the explosive line for the rest of the encounter, stacking together. This can lead to some pretty extreme situations. If you stack too many Remnants, you might be in for a fight beyond your abilities, but the rewards can be very worth it. Each mod on the monster is improving the items that they can drop. Once you get to the endgame, you will find that the Atlas has changed substantially. To the south, you will now find the coastline of Rayclast, with the ocean beyond. King's March has not fared well after the Cataclysm, and lays in ruins. Rog's shop has been destroyed, but he is much more concerned about his wife, Gwenyn. He would like to launch an expedition deep into the ocean to find her, and this begins a new major mechanic for Expedition, exploring the ocean. Previously,
Why you gonna make me care about this luck-based bitch? Ah! White women!
a logbook was a single encounter. Now, using a logbook, you can send ships to explore an area of the ocean to the southeast, uncovering a range of islands.
So here's my question. Does this now mean that in order to actually explore the grand map in all directions, that I'm going to be expected to just assume that the bottom right of the map is going to be unpassable unless I choose to engage an expedition? On one hand, that eliminates a direction you need to move in. I doubt it would do anything to do with Citadel production in order to access the endgame adventure, unless it does, which... But if it does, this eliminates a direction that you need to move in, but it also complicates things by making it slightly more difficult, because maybe you don't want to go on the ocean. Or you don't want to go on the ocean yet.
To begin your search for Gwenin, you can hop from island to island, doing many new encounters. There are islands with expeditions, grand expeditions, new bosses, and all sorts of other unique things to find.
It might be a new boss, but they're just reworking the original mini-bosses from Path of Exile 1 into new encounters. They had already inverted Varana's tree. They didn't do anything with Uhtred and the other guy. So now they're bringing them in and they're putting them on weapon skins so that they have encounters that adds content. Is it kind of boring? Only in like the astronomical sense. Players that already expected this to play this are going to be happy about this. But in the grand cosmic scheme of things, entirely new monsters. But hey, they put like 7. They put like 7 fucking leagues worth of content into this patch update, which is why it's going to take all May to come out. They down, Sapphire. Well, you don't really want to play the game.
Eventually, you will find the island that Gwenin has been holed up on. It turns out that she has found the tomb of an ancient Kalgurin, Medved. While she appreciates you coming to her rescue, she is still keen to blow open the doors of the vault and take whatever you can find inside. It's just a shame that Medved isn't as dead as you previously assumed.
I mean, that's kind of a reworking of the executioner's skill list right there. Hey! Runic shit.
Now, after you have defeated Medved, you will find another logbook. And this time you can use it to choose which direction you want to explore. The ocean is vast and contains a huge number of new islands to find. With each logbook, you can explore one sector and you can go as deep as you like.
So this is basically their way of bringing in Delve. So, the answer to that question I asked is, does this now dictate the direction you can go in the endgame? Yes. And it's Delve at the same time. Expedition has assumed Delve. Does that mean Delve will never be coming in the future? I doubt it. But what it does mean is it's about to get really fucking freaky in this bitch. Like, really fucking freaky. Because I'm looking at the side of the screen here. I can see icons for the home to take you to whatever Axe home camp you're in. I see an icon for Delirium. I see an icon for Expedition. I see an icon for Ritual. I see an icon for Reworked Breach. I see another icon underneath that. Let's assume that that must be related to Abyss. And then there's another one under that that looks like a semi-golden wing experience of some type of wingspan. Actually, no, I'm wrong. Delirium, Expedition, or just Kalgurans in general. Ritual, Breach. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. And then above that, the symbol of the Vol, which probably means the Vol Temples. And then Abyss. So there's at least 2 additional things here that aren't accounted for.
There are all sorts of interesting objects to uncover and dungeons to explore. Many of the islands have expeditions with totally new mechanics. So for example, here is a volcanic island.
You can't get that one past me. That's an
Many of the
season
islands
fishing.
have expeditions with totally new mechanics.
That's a fucking fish pole with fucking shit in the water, bro. No. I don't believe. I refuse to believe the meme.
So for example, here is a volcanic island with voltaxic sulfite. Blowing up the sulfite will unleash extra waves of enemies. But there is also this wall with a suspicious light coming from behind it. On blowing it open, a giant ogre comes out, and he is determined to eat as much sulfite as possible. The more sulfite mounds that you have blown up, the more empowered and the more rewarding he will become.
Okay.
These islands contain all sorts of little secrets that you can find and blow up. Free trapped wisps, blow open root doors, even raise ancient precursor technology. And of course, more bosses. There are more and further vaults to blow up, and one of them in particular is pretty important. The Tomb of Uhtred, the Star Drinker. Uhtred was responsible for calling down the meteors of Verisium, which the Kalgurans used to power their ancient magic. And upon defeating him, he calls down a truly gigantic one into the ocean nearby.
Damn. It's got a scenographic too.
On visiting it, you find that it is shrouded by a strange energy emanating from the Verisium core of the meteor within. There is something growing in there, and it can't be anything good. In order to gain entry, Danik suggests that the Triskelion Flame, an ancient Kalguran artifact that can absorb and cancel the effects of Verisium magic, could be used to enter. But to find it, you will need to locate the Tomb of Olroth.
Oh lord, they're making us actually unlock their fucking tombs. Okay. Alright, so you're giving us an actual real grand quest instead of the eventual grand quest of, oh no, we found him, but it's not right. Oh no, we found him, but it's not right. Oh no, we found him, but it's not right. Now you're telling us, oh no, we gotta go get Gwen. We need her for the D&D session. Rog needs ham sandwiches. What's going on in the ocean? Come on, Vominos. Oh no, it's a giant star beast. I know what we can do. We can Metroidvania this shit. If we find enough of the sky, of the sky temple keys, we can finally fight the Ing Emperor. Type shit. Okay. Am I angry that they're sidelining this boss to increase and introduce this star beast? Not really. It's just funny the way that they've decided to write this.
Leader of the Knights of the Sun. Defeat him and gain access to whatever eldritch nightmare is growing inside. Now, we're not going to spoil the boss, but one thing you should know is that the Verisium that makes up the core of the meteor is of a quality that has not been available for millennia. Bringing this to Pharaoh and Danik should allow them to forge some objects of power. The creation
such as the Unleashed Revered Vestments. Armor Energy Shield with 1+ to maximum elemental resistances working off of the Vol inscriptions. 100% increased spell damage with 17 intelligence strength stat across the board, and an okayish level of increased armor energy shield. 17 of damage taken bypasses energy shield. If energy shield is below half, lose all runic bindings when you shapeshift to gain an equal amount of unbound potential. 1 runic binding gained on hit with spells, no more than 1 per second. So you've got a shapeshift transformation shaman system going here, where you will lose runic bindings to gain unbound potential, whatever that happens to be. And it definitely wants you to be spellcasting doing this. Fissure? Is that fissure? Certainly you can use it for fissure. You can definitely use it for plant growth. I don't know if you can use it for a hybrid.
information of which has been lost to time. So that's the League, and there is a lot going on.
And that's just the League mechanic at base. Oh, that's just the League mechanic at base. We haven't even gotten to the other fucking content. We're not even 1/3 of the way there, technically.
Sum all that up, there is a new encounter with over 30 new monster types and over 30 new rune modifiers to enhance them. You can create more than 100 new runes to craft your gear, as well as dozens of other new currency items. And there are new quests added to the campaign to unlock even more new crafting options. Rune forging armors, upgrading uniques, dozens of new Kalguran skills and supports, tons of new islands to discover by exploring the ocean, 5 new bosses, including a new pinnacle boss, and a bunch of new uniques to top it off. But there is still a ton more to come. It's time to talk about the massive changes to the endgame. But for that, I'll hand it back to Jonathan.
Now, as Mark hinted at before, the endgame atlas is very different now, and the ocean to the south is the least of the changes. The entire area around your starting location is now teeming with new questlines and things to discover. Will you investigate the strange forest to the west? The cracks in the earth to the east? Or perhaps visit the ruins of a Val city in the north? The atlas now has fixed points of interest at specific locations, giving you specific objectives that are easy to find. Like before though, no matter which objective you choose, going to towers to see what's out there is always a good idea. The first time you do that though, something new happens. The earth shakes, and a gigantic fortress rises from the earth. A remnant of the ancient precursor civilization.
And you're gonna make this into the way that we go into the Burning Monolith?
The cataclysm of the beast has caused an ancient protocol to be invoked. Should corruption ever take hold to this degree, the world must be scoured and purged of corruption. You will need to make your way into the fortress and activate the gates. Gain the keys to reach these ancient precursor weapons, and disarm them. But this will be no easy task. The fortress has many areas to explore and many new things to find. You will power up ancient machines, fight new and deadly foes, discover many new areas, and uncover some dark secrets. Now, the Fortress is the first of the new full endgame storylines that we're adding in 050, and there's a lot going on with it. But not only that, it has some pretty cool new mechanics as well. The areas inside the Fortress are special. Many of them have new mechanics or rewards that they grant.
Crystal twinning.
Like this map,
Crystal
where all the
Grove.
rares are contained in essence crystals.
I mean, that's just an echoing of that encounter some of us have never found, which is the cave where you can kill monsters, and the more monsters you kill, the more potential final rewards you get from the final opening of the essence crack. I mean, that's a high.
Or this one, which replaces all monster packs in the area with strongboxes. Or this one, which spawns an Ismeri spirit that always moves on from a rare after you kill it, allowing you to chase it through the entire map.
I imagine that's going to end up being slower pace for a lot of people because they're going to hate having to be done that. And I hope that it basically starts at the beginning of the map and that you can actually figure out where to go from there without you needing to slow down too much.
Now, just like the normal areas of the Atlas, you'll need to fight the map boss of each area to complete the map. But unlike a normal map, the ones in the fortress each contain precursor nodes after the boss, and activating these nodes will give you points for the new and improved Atlas passive tree.
So we have to interact with the main storyline in order to gain quest points instead of doing it the other way around.
Now, we had an Atlas passive tree before, but it was one of the areas of the endgame that just wasn't up to scratch. The Atlas tree now works quite a lot differently. We have significantly upgraded the kind of mechanics that you can find on the Atlas tree. Like this one, that gives a chance to make rogue exiles you fight retreat from combat and move to an adjacent map. Before you fight them again, they'll upgrade their gear and come back with a grudge this time.
Grudge match rogue exile planning. The choice of reward for this needs to be chase uniques that are hard to find. You guys disabled it, and I'd like to see you return back things like the Deepest Tower with this mechanic.
There are also a lot of nodes that combine mechanics together in new ways, like this one, which lets Ismeri spirits possess strongboxes.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Cross-contamination runes. Oh, no!
All the regular monsters that come out of them are touched by the spirit, and the rares are all possessed, giving you some incredible loot potential.
That's a great way to find some items off-ground loot.
You get points from every single area you complete in the fortress, and unlike before, that means you can allocate the entire Atlas tree. Yes, this whole tree can be yours. This change is pretty important, since it allows us to be able to create many types of bonuses that we wouldn't have been able to create before. Like this one, which gives a chance for cities to be invaded by another faction, and can even allow it to contain 2 faction leaders, allowing you to get 2 crisis fragments.
Interesting. A method to speed up crisis fragment farming.
If we'd done this kind of thing in the old tree, we would have wanted to spec into it before running a city map, then unspec out of it before running anything else.
And this is something that plagues Path of One content because it's just, oh, I want to go do endgame content now. Ding, 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 click. Set aside orbs to unspec after doing a day full of farming. Dwing, 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 click. Now it's time to do the other side. Dwing, 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 dwing. 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 Very boring, very wasteful of currency that's meant for respecking. It shouldn't work like that.
With full allocation, we can have cool bonuses like these. Now obviously we still want to make sure that you have choices that define your in-game Atlas build. So many nodes in the Atlas tree are now multi-choice. Everyone will get the node, but which bonus you choose to use is up to you. Do you want your powerful boss maps to contain more essences, summoning circles, or rogue exiles?
Well, see, summoning circles don't seem to do anything other than add a super unique boss. A super unique boss, which doesn't necessarily drop special content. So unless you make them drop special content, unless I'm aware that they drop special content already, it's just not good. Like, Essence is potential, I'm going to now craft the endgame weapon that lets me beat your ass. Rogue Exile, I might get a chance to find the endgame item I'm trying to find so I can beat your ass. Summoning Circle? Damage check?
But there's also nodes that contain more unusual things. So for example,
Favorite of the villain. 75% chance shrine buffs get reapplied when entering the arena. 25? No, I think that's both 25. 25% chance that shrine buffs instead are applied to the boss when activated, which grant an additional reward. Is it permanent? Do I have to chase? Do I have to run them down and beat it before the buff dissipates, or what?
On this node you can choose. Do you want to give a chance for shrines to instead be given to the map boss in the area, making them more challenging but dropping special loot? Or would you rather give a chance to be given a shrine buff before entering boss arenas, making for an easier fight?
I mean, technically, this isn't really an upside-downside situation. It's really just a, would you like to be able to speed clear the map and potentially get through mapping faster, or would you like to have extra loot once you can be able to handle it without the shrine buff? There's no inherent downside. And there's a very obvious choice that you should do when first starting. You use the one that your build is capable of now, and then you use the other one either when you get bored and it's like, I don't want to have to do that much work of heavy lifting, or the inverse order where you take it when you need it and then you turn it off and say, all right, it's farming time.
Now, I could probably nerd out about cool stuff in the tree all day, but we should probably get back to the fortress. Now, one of the really important things we wanted to do was make it so that all the boss fights in the endgame are now accessible with a quest line. That means that to fight the Arbiter of Ash for the first time, you don't need to get lucky by finding keys. They will be in fixed locations and there's a quest to get them. But the Arbiter of Ash is no longer the pinnacle of Path of Exile 2. For that, you'll need to travel into the very center of the fortress. An incredible challenge awaits you should you choose to go there. After the storyline, you still unlock keys for pinnacle bosses in the usual way, exploring the world and finding the keys required to get to them.
But now you need something called a pristine waystone.
But we have added a lot more interesting things to find out there as well. There are now all sorts of mechanics that can spawn on maps in the wilderness. For example, some maps might spawn as a rogue exile hunting ground, containing multiple rogue exiles who are there to hunt rare beasts. You might come upon them in the middle of a fight and be able to take out both of them. Or a map of champions that makes all the natural inhabitants of the area into magic monsters. Or this one that causes all shrines in the area to release as merry spirits when used. Once you have explored and found your keys, you can return to fight the pinnacle in the fortress again. But this version of him will be harder, and not only that, he will have new unique rewards as well. Each time you fight him, you get the ability to activate one section of the fortress, and any maps that you didn't finish there will be automatically completed, giving you all the Atlas points. So if you're the type of player who doesn't want to explore the fortress, and instead just race out into the infinite Atlas, you still have a way to get all those points.
So, for those that want to explore and see the new shit for themselves, they can run the maps themselves. For those that are going to be the ones in this league that are going to do the experience of the boss busting and immediately becoming bossers, especially inside of trade league economies, they're going to have the ability to rush straight to the boss, kill the boss, and thus be able to autocomplete and move up quickly. I imagine most of the streamers are going to do this in SSF, and they're not going to allow themselves to not clear those maps, so busting maps and becoming a juicer is going to be even bigger than before. Some builds are going to obviously be favored over others. I'm seeing Fissure Shaman potentially being on top. Blood Mage, easy. That's not even it's not even an argument. Anything that can survive large packs and can clear large packs while still having the move speed and the clear speed to avoid being slowed, stunned, maimed. Anything that is going to incur your move speed. My build from last league. Anything like that. Melee might not be necessarily recommended, but if it can wear a shield and it can take a hit, it'll probably be fine. And anything else that cleared the screen before is still going to clear the screen anyways. Lightning Spear undefeated.
So that's the Origins of Divinity storyline. It's a huge amount of new content with a ton of new areas, 5 new bosses, including a pinnacle, with a bunch of new unique items. But not only that, it also
And probably reworked fight mechanics so that they can actually understand what's happening to them, instead of getting blitzed by our Arbiter.
It revamps the Atlas tree, and includes a ton of new map mechanics that you can find both inside and outside the fortress. But this is just one of the new storylines. So let's talk about the next one now, Masters of the Atlas. Now earlier we talked about how the multi-choice nodes in the tree allow you to still have an in-game Atlas build, but we didn't think that was quite enough. You have an Ascendancy class for your passive tree, why not an Ascendancy class for your Atlas tree? Well, that's where the Masters of the Atlas come in. Throughout Rayclast are many opportunities for those with the skills to find them. Atlas Masters are willing to train you in these skills if you're able to help them in return. One such master is Jado, a member of the Order of the Jinn, an organization that secures powerful artifacts to prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Jado will send you on missions to investigate strange occurrences on the Atlas and recover the artifacts causing them. And for each one you recover, he will gain more trust in you and teach you more ways of the Order of the Jinn. At level 1, you could choose to massively increase the chance for rare...
Stronghold boxes in your map have an increased chance to be unique, with increased amounts of rare chests added to your map.
...unique chests. Or make it so that...
Map bosses always drop an additional unique item.
All map bosses drop an additional unique item. Or make corrupted waystones have an additional modifier.
Nick, stop it. My dick can only get so erect. Please, I can only get so erect.
But at the cost of making them send you to a totally unknown location.
Okay, so it's just, what was that thing called? Can't remember the name of it, but it was the Corrupted Waystone piece that every single map that you ran corrupted would send you to somewhere randomly. We use it as a way to basically try to fulfill your Atlas by being sent to random places to complete them. That really ain't that big of a deal.
Each mission you complete for Jado will unlock another row of abilities and give you another point to allocate, letting you choose how you want to specialize. But there are other masters too. For example, Hilda. Hilda is a member of a guild of monster hunters. She will send you on missions to assassinate specific deadly creatures around Rayclass and harvest their parts. In exchange, she will teach
Mighty Prey. 25% chance to upgrade map bosses to powerful map bosses and thus give them a higher chance of dropping higher tier loot, especially with a guaranteed Waystone modifier of at least +1.
teach you her monster hunting skills, like this one, which has a 25% chance to upgrade any map boss to a powerful version. Or this one, which makes
Lovajorok. Active Mary spirits cannot possess rare monsters. What does that mean, though?
As Marian spirits no longer possess rare monsters, making them go for the unique bosses in the area instead.
Okay. So, if you do some map with rares, and with potential additional uniques, which also technically would count Rogue Exiles for cross-pollination, you have a chance for cross-contamination and cross-pollination with the boss. But you can also have them possess other things as well. I wonder how that would work in Bleach. I wonder how that would work inside of Delirium. Certainly, a zone Delirium will be a lot different versus that, but I don't know. Because honestly, the part that I'm kind of worried about here right now is what they did to make Delirium better. Because if they took away the wave-based gameplay and they made it into something different, I have to hope that it's not going to be one of those kinds of things. Because in the maps, if you still have Delirium bosses appearing from mirrors, and you have this in effect with Hilda, am I just going to get butt-fucked by Omnibus?
You might notice that many of the effects on these are both upsides and downsides. So Hilda, for example, can make it so that you only get one attempt when fighting pinnacle bosses. But in exchange for that, they always drop 2 uniques.
Kind of based.
Because of that, we wanted it to be easy to swap between them depending on what you're doing.
So...
But in exchange for that, they always drop 2 uniques.
So you can see what you did. Here, Jado Spycraft has become double effect on Precursor Cat tablets. So that didn't get fucked away from the Atlas tree. That's cool. 50% increased exceptional items getting found, so up to tiers of items. Map bosses dropping additional unique items, and strong boxes in your area having a chance to be unique. So this is basically going to encourage you to go down the tree where you start focusing on strong boxes as your way to get experience. And by doing so, you're also going to potentially push yourself in a direction where you're trying to blow through maps quickly to find all your strong boxes, do all the juicing on the strong boxes, and eventually see if you end up pulling any of the unique ones. It's going to be a lot of researcher rolls, which is going to be very expensive if that happens. Probably going to want more things like Scully Color Fair, or the Trial Masters Grounds one, but I don't know. Seems kind of shitty. You could probably have these weighted differently so that they're kind of equal to opportunity chance. But some of these are probably going to be better than the others. Anyways.
Because of that, we wanted it to be easy to
Hello, hunting. Yes, unique monsters release their spirits on death. 25 chance to upgrade the map bosses. 25% chance that 1 rare monster is replaced by a map boss. And 5% chance that 3 rare monsters are replaced by a random map boss. Up to 4. And spirits do not possess rare monsters, meaning you are actively juicing to get as many chances to hit bosses as you can.
swap between them depending on what you're doing.
And then Doryani over here, your maps have additional revival, which gives you the chance to explore faster, easier, better for those that want to juice with some magnitude of safety. Death to the medium core idea. Waystones have more effect on prefix or suffix, so they saved that one as well from the original tree. As Merry Spirits only possess monsters after reaching maximum empowerment. And 100% already dropped my writing glasses.
As you unlock each master, they will appear on the side of the screen. Simply click whichever one you want to use to run the map, and all the bonuses you have selected for that master will be activated. This allows you to have a few different strategies that you can quickly pick between, depending on what you're running at the moment. Now, one thing that's been pretty obvious is that the endgame leagues we created when launching Early Access in 010 were not really up to the standard of the leagues we did since then. Fate of the Vaal and Rise of the Abyssal just have a lot more going on than Delirium or Expedition, for example. We wanted to do a serious upgrade to all of these mechanics before we do our 1.0 release, and so that's what we've done. All 4 of the leagues we launched in Early Access have been upgraded with not only new quest lines, but new mechanics, new crafting systems, new uniques, and new pinnacle bosses.
Interesting. So now you've put a measurement on the Delirium tree that shows you how deep in the Delirium you're going, and you made it similar to Breach 2.0?
One of the really important changes we made to all the leagues is that you can now find them on the Atlas in specific locations, and each one has a quest line that will lead you there to being able to complete the league, along with its Atlas tree and its pinnacle boss. This is true even for the leagues that we didn't do major redesigns to. So let's use Abyss as an example. When you first encounter one in the endgame, you'll get a quest that leads you to the east, where you will find these mega abyss cracks in the earth leading away from the Well of Souls. All the maps along the cracks will contain abysses with special properties, and mapping along these cracks will close the Atlas scale abysses, giving you points for the Abyss Atlas tree.
Okay.
At the end of each Atlas abyss, you'll find an
Guaranteed
abyssal
depth.
depths with the boss fight for one of the abyssal factions, giving you a guaranteed way to fight them.
Okay.
And after completing all 3, you'll get a key for the Well of Souls,
Okay, getting a fun troll finger.
allowing you to fight the Vessel of Kulamak. This kind of thing makes an in-game league so much more friendly for new players, giving people obvious goals and a guided experience to complete them.
This is really just the newbie experience. That's what that is, and that's fine, because this was made for new players. So they were having optics issues. I can't see where to go. It's very difficult to read. I have to look at the things over the map. Then you took the things away from the map. Now, visually look at the giant glowing meteorite. Oh, I don't know where to go to find the thing. Go where there's fog! I don't know where to find it, Ziri. Follow the Vaulish scripture. Makes sense. Optical confirmation.
Alright, so let's talk about the first of the upgraded leagues, Delirium, and its new storyline, The Hare and the Raven. As you may remember, during Act 4 you were tricked into releasing an ancient entity from a Karui prison known as Tangmazu, the Raven Trickster.
Yes, Tangmazu. The character who is the brother of one of the many gods we slayed in Path of Exile 1. Lore that nobody cared about, because unfortunately there are people who play this game as addicts. Let's call them what they are. They're addicts. They play the game as addicts. They're addicts. They will always be addicts. They have been addicts. They will continue to be addicts. And as addicts, they didn't give a shit. It was just, ooh, free shit before I got to go do the boring version of Delirium. Yes.
Tangmazu delights in breaking the minds of those who step through his mirrors, and when touching one, he will attempt to destroy your mind with twisted abominations generated from your worst fears. In Return of the Ancients, the first time you approach one of his Delirium encounters in the endgame, you will find Elder Maddox locked in a trance. His mind is trapped in one of Tangmazu's delusions, and you will need to free him. Once free, Elder Maddox demands that as you caused this problem, you should put it right. He asks you to travel west to the Withered Willow, the location he believes that Tangmazu first gained his powers. But be careful. As you travel there, the Raven Trickster will attempt to break your mind. Each map around the Withered Willow features Delirium encounters. Now this is more than a simple quest upgrade. The mechanic of Delirium has been overhauled and expanded. At the bottom of the screen, there is now a bar that indicates how deep into Delirium you are. You can see which direction leads deeper by looking at the fog, and the deeper you go, the more challenges you will face. By looking at the bar, you can see how long you have until the Delirium ends. And you can also see special encounters that you will face if you're able to go deep enough into the fog. At the end of the bar is always the boss of the map, but we now have a variety of other encounters that you might find as you explore the horrors of your own mind.
I mean, honestly, this is one way to help people tell where their maps are taking them, but the problem here has always been the same problem, which is that you just have maps that are big. Making them smaller doesn't make them better. So this is one of those things that you were talking about inside of Tavern that I looked at before I started the stream, where you're asking people to basically learn how to read their maps while already in the map, while also looking at the people outside the map. So it's really fun. It's really invasive in the way that it's going to grasp your attention. The sheer fucking spider cracking on the glass breaking effect is going to wake a lot of people the fuck up. It might get dull over time, but that, plus you point them in the direction the boss is in, is going to push them to do builds that can be able to push faster with mapping, and thus have better mapping clear speed.
For example, you might encounter a purple mirror shard that when shattered will cause all the enemies to become more nightmarish. After hitting this, you'll notice the delirium demons are enhanced.
Yeah, and then you're going to start seeing enemies like Omniphobia.
Significantly more powerful, larger, and scarier in general, along with more rewards. Or should you encounter a red mirror shard, you'll be sent into the depths of your mind. And must escape it while fighting off hordes of your...
You can't trick me. That's the reworked use of the mire from the fucking Eater of Worlds fight. Nah, I recognize that title anywhere.
worst fears. If you are able to do so, you will gain a powerful amulet with 2 instilled notables on it.
2 instilled notables. So we're taking pieces of the Calandra League, and we're putting them into an item. Oh, okay. Alright, no problem.
Once you reach the Withered Willow, Elder Maddox discovers that a shard of the mirror is missing. You will need to track down Tangmazu and restore it if you have a hope of discovering how to defeat him. And that means entering the Raven Trickster's mirrors in an attempt to locate him. Each area around the Withered Willow contains delirium encounters, so that's a good place to start. As you do deliriums, some of the special encounters will drop liquid emotions. Normally these emotions can be used to install amulets to add notable passive buffs to them. But in Return of the Ancients, emotions have a new function as well. Each one now has the ability to add crafted mods to jewels, allowing you to add specific mods to an item slot that can be quite difficult to roll.
We heard you liked having essences, so we put essences on your essences. We also added 5 different types of essences, and then we added essences onto your fucking jewels, bro. Okay. Alright. No problem. I'm here for it. A bit scary, but I'm here for it.
For example, Liquid Despair will allow you to add critical hit chance, while Liquid Suffering will allow you to add movement speed or Air of Effect to your jewels. But there are many more.
And it completely rerolls the jewel. Remove random modifier, augment basic jewel with a new guaranteed crafted modifier. Yes.
Suffering will allow you to add movement speed or Air of Effect to your jewels. But there are many more. Once you've done enough delirium encounters, the location of a grand mirror, an entrance into Tangmazu's realm, is revealed. But it won't be that simple to enter. Using his powers, he reflects the map boss for a ridiculous empowered fight, then destroys the entrance into his realm of madness.
So,
In order to find him now, you'll need to let the insanity fully into your mind.
effectively, guaranteed twinned bosses. This might be a way for people to target farm certain things, if it is allowed to be used in such a way.
A strange fruit is left behind which you can consume to fully embrace the madness in an attempt to reach the Raven Trickster's realm. Consuming the fruit will cover an entire area of the Atlas in fog, and every map you do in the fog will get progressively harder and harder as you explore the deeper reaches of your mind. At some point you enter a new layer. A simulacrum of your memories, twisted and perverted by the Raven Trickster.
So rather than wave-based content, it's being done as phase-based content. Does it still get affected by random modifiers?
Should you be able to complete the simulacrum, Tangmazu will believe that you are worthy of a true challenge, and will let you take the remaining shard of his mirror, allowing you to enter his realm of madness back at the Withered Willow. If you dare to face him, it will be a fearsome challenge. So, that's the new storyline of Delirium. As you can see, it's not only a quest line, there are new mechanics, new crafting options, and new boss fights. But one question you might have is, what happens after? Well, once you've completed the story, grand mirrors will start appearing on the Atlas sometimes after completing delirium encounters. After doing the grand mirror, you can select where on the Atlas you want to do your fruit-induced drug trip and get another key to fight Tangmazu. But this time, the fight will be quite a bit harder, and not only that, the fight will be able to drop a bunch of new uniques that were not available in the questline version. We'll show some of those later. After doing a grand mirror, the decision of where to spread the fog can be important because there are some potent emotions that only come from certain map bosses affected by delirium this way. Like all emotions, they can craft special mods onto jewels, but these potent emotions can create mods that you can't get any other way. So for example, potent liquid melancholy is an emotion that can only come from human bosses, and allows you to add a variety of on-hit effects. Also, you might want to try instilling amulets with these emotions. They could have some interesting effects with some
They changed the inskilling tree.
powerful notables that do not normally exist on the tree. Like Storm's Rebuke, which makes armor break boost your cold and lightning damage.
Fully breaking armor allows you to also increase cold and lightning damage taken from hits, alongside the fully breaking armor gift of the Molten One's gift that's on the bottom side of the warrior tree, which increases the damage you do with fire. This is definitely a monk tree thing.
But also notables from a clearly deranged mind, like Calm's Blessing.
The next fire spell you cast yourself after using a war cry gets ancestrally boosted. What does that really mean?
This skill allows you to ancestrally boost fire spells after using a war cry. How about using an ancestral flame blast? Now, just like before, you can also upgrade the League by getting points for a dedicated Delirium Atlas tree. But this now works in a much better way and has much cooler effects. The maps in the
And a lot more nodes too, 36 total nodes?
Delirium area of the Atlas give you Delirium passive points for completing them, so it's easy to see how to progress. Some nodes will add new types of mirror shard encounters to your Deliriums. Like this one, which...
Come on, face me! Face me! Face me! Delirium encounters are 25% more likely to spawn unique bosses, and slaying unique monsters pauses Delirium error for 20 seconds.
will pause the Delirium for some amount of time, allowing you to more easily get to higher depths.
This is good, because the problem with Delirium is you can never get there in time because it's so hard to clear packs once you've been juicing.
Or this one.
Get out of my head! Get out of my head! Magic monsters within the fog have a 20% chance to grant additional Delirium modifiers.
Which adds extra Delirium modifiers to monsters when you pick it up. There are also nodes that can add new types of drops, like this one, which modifies Simulacrum encounters to add special liquid emotions, which can craft time-lost jewels. And nodes that apply to the Atlas mechanics of the League, like this one, which causes the Grand Mirror to spread Delirium fog over a larger area of the Atlas, potentially containing multiple Simulacrums. Alright, so that's the changes to Delirium. The core mechanic now includes a bunch of new things to find, new monsters to kill, and has new mechanics on the Atlas. It also has new crafting system for jewels, and over 20 new unlockable notables for amulets. Not only that, but you have a new pinnacle boss with a bunch of new unique items, and a massively upgraded Atlas tree just for Delirium. But there's still a lot more to come, so let's talk about Breach next. When you first do a Breach in the endgame, you will find Aelith, one of the Keepers of the Flame.
Hi, Aelith.
An ancient order of monks dedicated to preventing the Hiveborn from entering the world. As you seem to be a keen slayer of demons, Aelith would like to recruit you to the order and asks that you travel to their monastery to the south. On the way there, you'll start to encounter more breaches, and will notice one of the first changes to the breach mechanic. You still have to kill monsters as fast as you can to keep the breach open, but now you can visibly see how much time you have left to keep it open, and how each kill extends its duration. Once you've reached the monastery, you will learn more about the Keepers. In the 25 years since the events of Keepers of the Flame in Path of Exile 1, the war with the Hiveborn has not gone well, and they have managed to establish a foothold in the world nearby. A gigantic area has fallen to the Scourge, and the Keepers are unable to get inside. Inside the monastery is the Genesis Tree, a powerful asset to the war effort, stolen from the enemy and gifted to the Keepers by the Dreamer himself. Using the tree, Aelith could create a breach stone and penetrate the Hiveborn foothold, but without Hive Blood, the tree has withered. To get Hive Blood, you will need to take advantage of another new mechanic of Breach. If you can keep the otherworldly portal open for long enough, the breach will stabilize and will enter a new phase. The Hiveborn will send their toughest miscreations to defeat you, and the breach will not close until you can annihilate them, dropping hive blood that you can use to restore the Genesis tree. In some cases, you may even attract one of the deadliest foes the Hiveborn can offer, a Marshal of Zesht. These monsters also drop womb gifts, and if you take these to the Genesis tree, they can be used to craft items to help you in the war against the Hiveborn.
Another slot machine to pull levers on.
Given that 25 years have passed since the beginning of the war, the tree has grown and withered many times, but with each cycle it learns and expands its abilities. When you first open the Genesis tree, you will notice these holes into which you can place your womb gifts. Each womb gift can be used to create a different type of jewelry and must be fertilized with hive blood. So for example, you can place this amulet womb gift into the tree and it will give birth to a random rare amulet. But the Genesis tree is capable of much more. As you continue to feed the tree, its branches will regenerate and allow you more and more control over what kind of items it will birth. So for example, this branch of the tree will allow you to control which base types of amulets can be birthed. And as you go deeper, it will even allow you to create new base types that you can't get anywhere else. Like this one, which gives you an entire spirit skill for free. Or this one, which has a rune socket in it. To the left and right are branches that will let you control which mods the amulet can get, including making sure that they're higher level, or controlling which specific mods that they will always have. With 15 points to allocate, you will have to choose wisely how you want to specialize your crafts. But it's worth noting that this tree doesn't have any cost to respecking it. You can enable or disable the nodes at any time by clicking on them. On rings, we've also added some really interesting new crafting options as well. You have a bunch of new base types like these, but you also have entire new classes of mods that can be added. The right-hand branch of the ring tree adds an entire new set of caster mods to rings. From basics like extra elemental damage for spells, or more niche options like this mod that increases the rate you gain seals for Unleash. And on the left-hand side, you can unlock an entire new set of mods for minion characters. This stuff is actually pretty important, because casters and minion builds didn't have as many slots with interesting item crafting compared to attack builds. The Genesis tree narrows that gap. There are also trees for belts and currency. I won't go over them too much here, but there are all sorts of goodies in these too, like being able to create new catalysts for jewels, or a belt that gives lightning damage. Once you've done enough breach encounters, you may finally get a womb gift capable of birthing a breach stone. And you can then use it on the Hiveborn incursion. Once used, the true extent of the Breach Demon's foothold becomes clear. They have not only transformed the land, but constructed huge sky hives as well. When you enter the outskirts of their realm, you will discover breach hives. Using the power of the Keepers of the Flame, these otherworldly structures can be burned away when walking through them. But for each one destroyed, more of the Hiveborn will attack when you attempt to purge the hive. These encounters are particularly rewarding for womb gifts, so you'll want to do as many of these as you can. But your real goal are the sky hives deeper into the domain.
Of course, obviously.
These twisted creations are securing the demon's entry into our world. Inside the very center are the Breach Lords Tool and Ash, and you will need to defeat them if you want to get rid of the foothold once and for all. Now, once you've completed the questline version, there is still more to do. You will find other breach domains on the Atlas randomly in your travels. For each one, you will need to find a breach stone, destroy the sky hives, and defeat the Breach Lords. And doing these encounters is what will give you access to fight Zesht, the existing Breach Pinnacle boss, which you can access by communing with the Dreamer himself inside the monastery. While completing the questline for Breach, you will also be gaining points for the Breach Atlas tree, and there are a lot of cool new options here. This node will cause Breach hives to spawn outside of the Hiveborn domains on the Atlas. And this one will give Aelith additional abilities that you can use while attacking a hive. Like this one, which causes all Hiveborn in the next wave to be magic, drastically increasing their difficulty in exchange for way more items. There are also nodes that allow you to control your rewards, like this one, which adds a set of new lineage supports to the Marshal of Zesht. Or this one, which lets you control which womb gifts you will get. There's also some nodes that affect the Genesis tree, like this one, which will cause Zesht to drop his head, which when returned to the Genesis tree, will grow a grasping orchid on the side of it. You'll have to experiment to find out what this thing is good for. Putting rings on its fingers seems to make it happy. So that's a rundown of what you can expect from the new Breach questline. There's a new stabilization mechanic for breaches, hive encounters, and Hiveborn incursions on the Atlas. We also have a huge new crafting system and new bosses as well. Alright, so let's talk about the Rite of the Nameless storyline next. When you first complete a ritual in the endgame, Aoife, a lost spirit, will appear. She appears to need your help, but isn't able to communicate more than a few words, beckoning you to come to the Wildwood.
Oh, we
Like
get to go to the
The
Wildwood?
ritual now has a place on the Atlas to call home. The Wildwood could be found to the west.
So, not only did we change the makeup and the composition of the map, we changed its composition. We said the directions, north, main quest line. Any direction that is anything that is not within the barrier walls of the Citadel, side developing quest lines. To the south, Kalgurans. That is as, can you make it more obvious to me than you can get? Okay. I'm already sold here. But wait, there's more.
When you first arrive there, Aoife's spirit will guide you in, where you will discover that inside the Wildwood, spirits can take physical form. Aoife has been bound to this place by the King in the Mists, and requests that you free her. But in order to do so, you will need her body, currently in possession of the King. To reclaim it, you will need to gain an audience with him. Inside the Wildwood, there are many ritual encounters to complete. Like before, in each area, triggering rituals will resurrect the nearby bound monsters to attack you, and killing the monsters will give you tribute. In addition, each ritual you do in the area will add the monsters from the previous ritual, making the encounters much more challenging the more rituals you complete. Once you've completed them,
I cannot answer that phone. You have to call my mother.
Hello. Please leave a message after the tone.
Bing. Okay, he's not leaving a message. We continue going. Ah, fuck my ass. Hey, bugging my ass. And do it in my butthole.
spend your tribute to get items. Now, an important change to the rewards of Ritual is that all the items in the reward window are now uniques or omens.
Oh, my dick! It exploded! Oh, God! Oh! Lord, please! Oh, Lord, we used to pray for times like these! Oh, yes! 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 Oh, Lord, have mercy! Oh! Yes, sir. Glory, glory, Lord, we adore thee. Pray to our Jesus for your loot, loot, loot. Lord, 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 we adore thee. Give me that drop table, that loot, loot, loot. Yes! Yes! Fuck Fuck me, yes! 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 Omens! Uniques! Items! Technically item bases. Yes! Now, this is a massive haul, okay? This is a massive overhaul. This is a really, really big overhaul. You effectively Lord have mercy. By making a massive trade-off, ground loot and window loot now has very specific purposes and jobs. If every item inside of a favors window is now a unique, it means we have destroyed the ability to find massive tiered smash and grab upgrades. Smash is in literally smash and grab upgrades from recombination that would be available to you as part of your regular upgrade use of Expedition, right? Because with the use of Abyss crafting and Abyss, Expedition crafting and recombination becomes your ulterior goal of what is going to be the first things that patch you up. Because Breach doesn't actually give you anything of value. You are just being expected to clear and clear constantly. Delirium certainly didn't give you anything of value, so you are always pigeonholed into at least needing to run the Expedition and then Expedition Abyss crafting. Now, or at least then, now, with rituals being omens, where the point is to get the omens, it's impossible to fucking find them, because they're so hard to drop. And then, fucking hoarders on the marketplace refuse to give anything to you for them, at all, ever. Period. So now, by taking away the opportunity that, yes, you will now get fucked out of finding a rare that's going to have the best stats possible to smash and grab into your recombinator sequencing, you are now adding power to say, hey, would you like a free Nebulock? Oh, you don't want a free Nebulock? Would you like to have the ability to put the Omen of Greater Acceptation on standby? You now give people direct access to metacrafting earlier and more stably. And so, you now have a lot of potential and a lot of power inside a ritual. Not only can you go here as a quick one-stop shop where, Lord have mercy, this actually frees you away from not having to run a certain strategy with Rogue Exiles just to find the items you need for your chests, but it now gives you provide opportunity that you can just be able to roll that shit. Just roll that shit. You'll have a lot more access to chance orbs. And with having a lot more access to chance orbs, that only means you're not only does that mean you're going to be able to find and fill out your sidebar and fill your Holy Grail, it also means you're going to have a lot more pieces to put together to create actual stability for your builds and your build choices. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Making this league's rewards much more valuable than before. In order to gain an audience with the Nameless King, you need to sacrifice tribute to...
It also means you're going to be spending a lot less time getting those chance orbs together so that you can try to gamble to find those items. That's another side of the problem. Reduce the amount of shuffling of chance orbs and the bloat of chance orbs being made too expensive in the league by instead being able to have a way to defer the item and or be able to offer the items to do shit. There's also the ability that you can just offer up all your items to be rewarded directly with an audience with the king. But that's the other side of the ritual. You're running the rituals to find an audience with the king, defer it, and then eventually get it slow enough that you can buy it and then run it. Now you can just say, gimme, 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 gimme. And that really now means you have to really know your item value. Some items are worth taking, some items are worth deferring, and then, obviously, if you already are at the point where you've got the Dreamer, you're just going to be looking for opportunities to make a lot more power than usual.
To him. Any remaining tribute you don't spend can be sacrificed this way to fill up this bar. Once you have enough tribute for an audience, return to the Wildwood to divine his location with the Nameless Shrine. His location will be revealed deeper in the Wildwood, and you will need to make your way to him, kill him, and get Aoife's body. Using her body, you can attempt to release her spirit, but this is when you learn about the true threat of the League. The Wildwood is built on top of an ancient prison. The King in the Mists didn't gain his power out of nowhere. He was granted it by an ancient being of darkness known as the Bodark, and the Nameless King's use of this power has been causing the prison to weaken. In order to prevent the Bodark from entering the world, a champion will need to enter its prison and beat him back, but those with a name are unable to survive there. In order to do so, you will need to transfer your name to another with a new mechanic in the Ritual League, the Rite of the Nameless. The rite will begin in a nearby forest. At first, it appears to be a regular ritual encounter, but that will soon change. The final ritual of the area will include the map boss. And defeating him will give you a piece of the effigy onto which you will transfer your name.
I love how we're just in full fucking shaman bear mode here. Just, yep, I'm a bear. I'm going to go crash into the League. We're going to use Fire Rampage, and we're going to stomp through everything. And fuck you, I'm a bear. Yes, loving it. Loving it. Just push people more towards builds that are going to be started for new players. Yes.
But the ritual is still not complete. Once the map boss is defeated, the Atlas will open, and you will need to pick another adjacent map to continue the ritual. During the rite, each adjacent map will have different rewards to tempt you.
Now, full tour proliferation is a very interesting mechanic here, because you're effectively combining a different mechanic from POE1 here, and that is the dissemination of what we would call master memories. So, the last one was Delirium, pick a zone, and then do some shit. The other one was pick a zone, and in the direction of the Kalgarian expansion, you go to a different place on the sea to go on the grand quest. Now, it's get a choice to put proliferation on these maps. An effect that says all unique favors become currency is very interesting, because that means they should all become omens now. Yes? You're not going to be just getting pure currency. You're also going to be getting uniques and omens. So if they all get turned into currency, that means they get itemized into omens. So they should be now random omens, not only of metacrafting, but also of actual use. I don't know. This is decisions, choices. But at the same time, just getting more tribute is good, period.
So for example, if you go in this direction, you gain significantly more tribute. But if you go in this direction, the uniques in the reward window will turn into currency instead. You can also sometimes get offered specific items that will be added.
Foretold pounding to mage blood, please, bitch, please. That might tempt other people. That don't tempt me. Make it a headhunter and we got a deal. Funny.
Added as rewards.
You're funny.
So in this case,
you're cute. You're funny.
If you want to get 5 Chaos Orbs or a Mage Blood. A difficult decision, I'm sure. Now, as this is one continuous ritual, the encounters in the next map won't start from scratch. They contain all the monsters that were gathered from the rituals of the previous map as well,
including the map bosses,
making them harder and harder. And that includes the map boss too. You will need to defeat both map bosses in the final encounter for your next effigy piece. And it still doesn't end there. Pick another map, another reward, and add another map boss to continue until the...
Yeah, why don't we make it more like it's an auto-battler sequence? Yes! It needs to be a little bit more like every single auto-battler out there in the fucking marketplace. Vampire Survivor this shit, please. Please, please. Make it more like that.
The Ritual of the Nameless is complete. It will take 5 maps in all, and will be an incredible challenge. But once complete, you can return to the Wildwood to perform the final rite. Transfer your name to the effigy, adorn the crown of the Nameless King, and enter the prison. Now, of course, once the Pinnacle boss is complete, the League doesn't end there. As you do rituals on the Atlas, you can continue to give tribute to the King in the Mists for another audience. Pick another forest to begin the Rite of the Nameless once more, and this time with a harder Pinnacle boss and new unique items to find. Of course, we've also significantly upgraded the Ritual Atlas tree.
And it's very, very big. It's very big. Last one was 30, this one's 30. Well, no, last one's 32, this one's 31.
Get points by completing maps in the Wildwood, and you'll be able to unlock some pretty cool nodes. Some of them affect the Rite of the Nameless, like this one, which extends its duration. You thought fighting 5 map bosses at once was hard? How about 6? Or this one, which makes maps during the Rite have more reward mods, often having 2.
Which also now includes foretold bounties as well as proliferations.
You also have nodes that allow things to combine with other content.
Cross-contamination. Ritual altars now have 15% chance to be built on summoning circles, summoning an additional boss when activated.
Like this one, which gives a chance for rituals to be created inside summoning circles, adding a random boss to the ritual encounter. There is even a node which adds a new type of possible ritual, the Audience with the Queen, which causes the Bride of the King to sometimes appear. Okay, so that's ritual.
So, Bride of the Queen basically is the encounter from the interlude of Interlude 3 for the Crier Peaks, with the one following the whisper of the snake, of the serpent, yeah.
But let's have a look at what this means for endgame content as a whole for Path of Exile 2. When you include the expedition changes made by the League, we have a total of 5 new endgame storylines, each of which has a hub, crafting systems, areas to explore, NPCs, and a pinnacle boss as a capstone. Not to mention the Masters of the Atlas storyline as well. But more importantly, you now have immediate quests as soon as you arrive at the endgame, and goals with obvious progressions that you can see how to finish. Each endgame questline has a progress bar that you can pop out from the side of the Atlas.
So, here, we can now read this. Delirium Atlas skill tree points that have been acquired, expedition bosses that you've defeated, Ritual Atlas skill points that you've acquired, Breach Atlas skill points that you've acquired. What is an Enigma Chamber? Patriarch Matriarch Halls completed. Wonder what that is. At Series Temple pieces and Abyss Atlas skill points. So, those 2 pieces there, the Enigma Chambers and the Patriarch Matriarch, I want to know what those are.
Screen at any time. This shows you how far through you are, and buttons that will take you to the hubs for them. Overall, it's just a way better in-game experience with a significant number of fun objectives to complete. But just in case you didn't have enough goals, we did have one other thing that you might want to complete this league. These are called challenge leagues after all. Where are all the challenges? Well,
and now we have real challenges.
Path of Exile 1 will be used to the fact that each league comes with a series of challenges that you can complete in order to prove that you are indeed the best. We haven't done these yet in Path of Exile 2, but it's time to change that. If you're able to complete them, you'll earn pieces of the Knight of Alder armor set. Opening the challenge screen will show you a series of 8 challenges. After completing each one, anyone in chat or in the forums will be able to see your prowess. In addition, you'll get a statue to put in your hideout showing anyone you trade with how many challenges you've completed. You'll earn the first piece of the armor set after doing 2 challenges, and the full armor set after completing all 8. So that covers all the content you'll encounter in Return.
So you reduced it by a significant amount. Certainly, probably not reducing the challenge.
The Ancients. But what about some new tools to fight against these new pinnacles with? Well, we also have some new Ascendancy classes as well. But to introduce them, I'll hand you guys back to Mark.
As Jonathan
Hi,
said,
Mark.
we have 2 new classes to show you today. The Spirit Walker and the Martial Artist. Let's start with the Huntress's new class, the Spirit Walker. The Spirit Walker has developed an affinity with the Asmerian animal spirits. She is able to infuse the power of multiple spirits at her choosing. On the bottom part of the class you will find paths for each wisp you would like to commune with, be they primal, vivid, or wild.
So, Vivid Stampede, gain a Vivid Wisp every 20 meters you move, up to a maximum of 3. Expend all Vivid Wisps to trigger Vivid Stampede when you attack. Gain a Primal Owl Feather every 4 seconds, up to a maximum of 3. Expend an Owl Feather when you dodge to trigger Primal Bounty. And then Wild Protector.
Each one can give you different abilities that align with the stag, owl, or bear.
Can you explain them?
Each
Thank you. Call upon the spirit of the stag, sending them leaping forward, with each stag releasing a damaging shockwave each time it lands, converting your physical by 60% to lightning damage, leaping up to 4 times. No, guaranteed leaping 4 times the radius of 2. It does 362 at a max level of 20, and has the ability to increase its meter of shockwave by 0.5 for a maximum of 2.5, and then increases off that based on AoE.
Each ability gives you a method to become possessed by wisps of that type, and a new ability when you spend them. The Stag allows you to summon stampedes when you attack. The Owl grants
Empower the next projectile skill that you use, causing it to create additional projectiles and then fly faster. Well, there's that archetype for Tornado.
boons in the form of their feathers, which adds extra projectiles and enhances the projectile speed of your next skill.
Makes it zoom, zoom, zoom across the map, making it into a new form of spark.
And the Bear simply summons...
And the bear. The bear. You call upon the bear companion to maul your foes. The bear spirit will leap at enemies to maim them, leech life with slam, and periodically roar to intimidate them, not counting towards your companion limit, and dealing more damage and having more life. So it has a life pool. It should respawn faster. It doesn't count against the companion limit, which means you can still run a wild beast alongside of it. So one is more based on projectile, another one is more based on attack limitations, and the Wild Protector is much more a companion. I'm going to beat you to death, and it doesn't matter if it's magic or if it's physical, but probably melee levels of attacking. So it's acting as a distraction tank.
a giant bear companion to your side. The bear will maul, slam, leap, and do...
And the archetype they're using here is Bleed, so you definitely will probably want that for the Rake archetype.
intimidating roars to debuff your enemies. Now you can specialize more into each of these wisps.
Go slowly.
Roars to debuff your enemies.
Go slow.
Now you can...
Morgan's Guidance. Gain a vivid wisp when vivid stampede ends. The stag's dealing more damage per leap and having more shock magnitude per leap.
specialize more into each of these wisps.
The Macaque's Gift. Dodging can expend up to 3 owls, granting probable bounty 100% more. Empowerment per additional feather expended. Gain owl feathers 50% faster.
But if you want to combine all three of them...
Companions deal additional damage equal to 60% of your main hand weapon's damage. So yes, this is an archetype where they're telling you if you want to do things that involve attacking based on the movement that you cover, this is the way to do it. If you want to gain this based on projectiles, based on time spent in the map, this is the way you do that. And if you just want to be able to maul your enemy to death with the melee skills, this is the way to do that. But these are going to be more focused on stat effects that are empowering the skills you're using, that are going to be based on the weapon that you're dealing with. And that companion dealing additional attack damage equal to 60% of your main hand, we're going to see a lot of effect of really strong spears coming out of this league. Lots of damage, lots of crit multi, lots of crit enhancement, lots of attack speed probably.
Then a new hidden power will be unlocked. The power of the Sacred Wisps.
The power of the Unity. Bear Spirit gains Embrace of the Wild. Vivid leaps towards enemies. Central projectile of Owl Feather will leave a trail of soaring ground.
This node is free and enhances the quality of all three of your spirit animals. Your bear will...
So, soaring ground grants 30% increased evasion rating and 60% increased damage while on full life to you or allies standing on it. So this is definitely a increase to make the trajectory playstyle about standing on the ground to throw shit at people. There really hasn't been a projectile archetype to the Amazon, not really. She has projectiles already as a part of spear throwing.
You were eating straight eggs.
But it is what it is.
The fuck are you doing?
The Dave, the real SFO, thank you guys. It's a normal amount of driving. If it is Dave, hi Dave. And then Embrace of the Wild, the protecting bear spirit while they are within, protect the spirit bear's allies while they are in presence within 3 meters, grant to them 2% of maximum life regen, and cause 8% of the damage they would be taking to be caused by bear instead. So you're getting 8 damage augmentation defer, and you're getting 2% max life. That's just good in general. That's just good in general. So what's on the top side of the tree?
will take some of the damage you take and grant you life regeneration. Your stags will become more aggressive, leaping towards enemies. and your owl-empowered skills will leave a trail of soaring ground behind them. But that's not all. The Spirit Walker has other powers beyond wisps. Such
So now we've got the top tree. Idolatry. Companions deal more increased damage per every idol in your equipment, 2% increased reservation skill effects per idol in the equipment, and -4 to all elemental resistance per non-idol augment in your equipment. So lose elemental resistances when you're not using idols, which then push you in a direction to go do content that involves you getting involved with the Spirit Wisps, which is going to encourage you to take them as bonus content on your maps. So they're going to go in the direction of now making so you can actually focus on shit directly. And it's going to actually make it really important for you to get those drop tiers. So let's hope that double time buff was actually good last season.
as Idolatry, which can give you large bonuses for using idol socketables in your equipment. And this one, which is
The Natural Order! Tame beasts can capture unique beasts. I see y'all guys have been looking over at what they did in not Path of Exile 2. We've been looking at what they've been doing over inside of Diablo 2, Reign of the Warlock, and decided, yeah, we like being able to capture Hephaestus the Armorer as a special increase. Yes, let's bring that over here. Kappa. Alright, so you can capture a unique beast. Not really sure how many unique beasts are really out there. The bell comes to mind. But you want them to be capturable. They can have up to increased move speed. And they get possessed by random spirits every 20 seconds. Okay. Give me some examples.
which is my absolute favorite. The Spirit Walker, having attuned herself with nature, can gain the ability to tame beast bosses, opening up a whole suite of very cool options for your build. Maybe you tame the mighty Silverfist in the jungle depths.
Kappa.
Or maybe a three-headed chimeral beast in the chimeral wetlands.
Okay, so Shakuklin, or a version of any of the other beast bosses. Well, that depends. That depends. Did they change those bosses inside of the whatchamacallit? Inside the Trial of Chaos? If they haven't, and they're all considered beasts, then all three of those would be valid too.
Or then there's a giant frozen owl beast, Rakar, the Frozen Talon.
And that's from the intervention.
There's so many choices.
So yes, it is a version of that boss. So they took those versions, and those versions are allotable. Certainly someone's gonna break this. I can smell a busted build a mile away from here. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it's gonna be busted. And it's gonna probably be strong. And it's probably gonna use spear skills with Sacred Flame.
You're going to have to experiment a bunch with this one, and I'm very excited to see what bosses you all choose to have as your trusted boss companion. Next up, we have the Monk's new Ascendancy class, the Martial Artist. After decades of training, he has mastered 3 of the 7 Hollow techniques. Channeling Hollow Form technique allows the martial...
No, that's a lot of small text. Okay, so. Hollow Form. Channel to create fleeting images of your astral self near the target location. The images perform a socketed attack once and then vanish, targeting the closest enemies if possible. The images cannot perform channel skills or conditional skills. Images get created within 6 meters of yourself. They spend 50% of the skill's cost. I think that says 50. Could say 80. You create 2 additional images when you consume power charges, so you will be charge stacking with this. They will have less attack speed, but they will deal... No, they have less attack speed and they'll do less damage. So, 30% less attack speed, 20% less damage, but you're creating doubling echoes of yourself when you do so. So, if you make it up like this, you're basically creating copies of yourself to create overlapping damage to get back more potential.
Artist to create illusions of himself, which then use a skill of your choosing. Perfect for turning skills with less area of effect into ones that can obliterate packs with ease. Should you find yourself overly vulnerable while channeling,
Way of the Mountain. 200% chance surpassing 200% surpassing chance. Excuse me. 200% surpassing chance. So it's the new system that they did on surpassing with getting extra bow shots and extra skill usage. 200% surpassing chance per enemy power to gain mountain teaching on immobilizing an enemy up to 30. You lose a mountain's teaching when you're hit when you sustain an attack that benefits from mountain's teaching. When you have any amount of this effect, attacks you use and attacks granted by this ascendant class will deal 20% more damage. So you're kind of breaking even with your channeling here. So you lose 20%, but then you gain 100%. Okay. Enemies that you hit that would deal damage less than equal to 30% of your max life after mitigation, such as armor and resistances, but before other types, will deal 70% less damage, and you have 50% more stun hold. All Mountain's teachings are lost if you go 8 seconds without gaining any. So, yes, baby. Baby, I can hear you. Yes. Love you too. Ouch. I dropped my phone on my finger. So, you have a channeling skill. That channeling skill creates copies of yourself to use skills. It can choose to use any version of any palm skill that you have, or any skill in general, actually. So weapon versions and palm versions. The palm versions that have the ability of basically being chainable are going to be the ones that are probably going to be the most viable for getting area clear. But then the ones that are going to be all about trying to get additional stun effects are going to be the ones that are possibly going to be interesting to use with channeling, should you want to be able to get extra effects of them in the damage. Because every time you immobilize something, or stun it, more than likely stunning is going to be more likely, you're going to get combo power and combo chance, more than likely with these attacks. Maybe. Didn't say anything about that yet, but if it functions the way that monks already do, combo points will be available for these. So you're stacking up additional damage and additional active power chances with them. It should be the case that every channel is just one power charge, unless it requires sustaining of power charges. Go on.
you might want to take Way of the Mountain, which causes you to be covered in stone when you immobilize enemies, mitigating large amounts of damage. This can even enhance your attacks too. By hardening your weapon in stone, you can deal even more damage. After taking...
God damn, that's even smaller. Then you've got another one called Hollow Focus. While active, ghostly bells periodically appear next to you with your hits destroying the bells, creating shockwaves that damage nearby enemies and cause heavy stun on enemies that have been primed. The bells themselves are always primed for stun and can be culled. So the bells can act as a way for you to easily be able to get power charges, I suppose. 5-second duration. 4.1 second duration between bells appearing. One active bell. It cannot cause stun buildup with its shockwave. Shockwave is 2 meters by base.
In Hollow Focus technique, you can manifest your spiritual energy into objects. In this case...
So yes, a way to stack your charges.
Bells, which will appear around the martial artist and can be shattered by any of his attacks. Even ones from the Hollow Form technique earlier. Hollow Resonance technique furthers that by adding a manifested bell to your back, which rings each time you deal a critical strike, damaging all...
Okay, alright. Let's get retarded. Alright, cool. Attach a ghostly bell to your back, critical hits and other skills will cause it to ring out, damaging nearby enemies. And it does 224 damage base. Oh, Lord have mercy, we're gonna fuck people. And it's any non-talisman melee martial weapon. We're gonna fuck so hard.
All enemies around you. Through all the martial...
And then runic meridians. Tattooing yourself directly, gaining additional rune-only socket effects. In the helmet, in the body, in the gloves, in the boots.
Martial artist's thorough training, he has mastered the flow of internal spiritual energy too, and has engraved runic tattoos around his meridians. By doing this, he can gain the benefit of extra runes. Just open your inventory and add the runes. There is one that counts as a helmet, 2 as a body armor, 1 as gloves, and 1 as boots. Finally, your hands.
Way of the Stone Fist. Gloves you equip have their base type transformed to Fist of Stone while equipped, and their prefixes and suffixes are transformed into more powerful related modifiers.
The ultimate expression of a master of the martial arts. Taking Way of the Stone Fist will cause your gloves to become a new base type when equipped. Each modifier on the original pair of gloves has an equivalent, more powerful, and more impactful modifier. For example, these gloves add some physical damage, cold damage, lightning damage, some resistances, and life gain on hit.
So, a pretty average piece of attack damage focused gloves with some cast over with life on enemy hit with chances and some decent fire resistance and lightning resistance for some plus 67 modifying electric. Or excuse me, 67% augmentation of elemental resistance cap coverage, and gaining 5 life per the enemy hit on attack. But really, the big winners here on these stats are anything you roll off the implicit and the high physical cold lightning.
Now, when I equip these, they become literal fists of stone.
And so, they then get evasion per level, 1 to maximum energy shield per level, the maximum fire resistance, maximum lightning resistance, additional but not as strong rolls of fire and lightning resistance, gaining additional life per enemy hit with attacks if you have dealt a critical hit recently, and then attacks gaining 24% of damage as extra. So extra physical, extra cold, extra lightning. That is very powerful. I wonder if that affects uniques as well.
And not only grant me a bunch more evasion and energy shield, they now also grant a lot more damage, some maximum resistances, and a significantly higher amount of life gained on hitting enemies. With all the different rune combinations you could do, and the different modifiers on gloves, there's a ton of different build options, and we're looking forward to seeing what you can come up with. Now, with so many new bosses in Return of the Ancients, of course we want to have a huge number of unique rewards. There are some pretty cool things in here, so we wanted to show you a few of them. Twisted Empyrean is a 2-handed mace made...
Starborn Onslaught, directly out the Kurgurin line. Additional physical damage, heavy cold damage, critical hit chance with mana, 17% of damage taken from mana before life, so hello mind over matter. Attacks with this weapon have added cold damage equal to 7 to 11% of maximum mana, converting 100% of fire damage with mace skills into cold damage. So, warriors that want to specialize into actually making use of the cold explosion that they like to put together with armor explosion to get massive map clear is going to play directly into this, but only if you want to use mana.
Made from the purest of Verisium, combined with the beast's corruption. It converts all of your mace's skills fire damage to cold, and visually does so too, turning your volcanic fissures into glacial ones. This mace also comes with its own built-in skill, Starborn Onslaught. Using Glory, you can leap backwards, throwing your mace at the ground, creating Verisium fissures, before calling behind it a storm of cold metallic bolts from the stratosphere. Next, we have Eventide Petals.
Runic Ward on an amulet, increased crit chance, intelligence, light radius, and ice crystals having 2% maximum life per 5 cold resistance you have. And a special killer skill called Midnight Zenith. Ice crystals refers to anything that is activatable on the ground that you leave as an effect. So effectively, what you're doing is, this might be monk influenced, we'll find out in a second, but for every 5 cold resistance you have, you're reducing their maximum life pool, thus making them easier to shatter, but also intravenously lowering the potential maximum damage it can do. but let's see how they suggest using them.
An amulet that not only grants runic ward, but also comes with its own reservation skill.
While active, critical hits with other skills that kill targets or powerful targets cause you to gain Arctic Petals. Once you have enough Arctic Petals, they can be consumed to create ice crystals near the most recent target as a meta skill. You cannot gain Arctic Petals from the skill's critical hits. Arctic Petals per power on enemies killed with criticals. 4 Arctic Petals upon critically hitting rare and unique enemies. Consuming 10 Arctic Petals to create 5 ice crystals when able.
Midnight Zenith. This skill causes your critical hits to grant Arctic Petals that hover around you. Once you have acquired enough of these petals, they will be consumed, creating a floral ice crystal near an enemy. Then, destroy that crystal to do devastating cold damage to everything around it.
Yes, so you're reducing the amount of potential damage you can do with a singular ice petal to instead create a forest of ice petals nearby, and by using that, you can then create a giant pop that will pop that enemy.
The Raven's Flock is a staff perfect for minion characters.
Cast speed, intelligence, minions deal 115 extra damage as a two-hander, have a chance to get Grueling Madness on hit, and increase Spirit Reservation efficiency of skills, thus allowing you to use more for the archetype. Very based.
Not only does it grant Spirit Reservation efficiency and minion damage, it also allows your minions to inflict Grueling Madness on hit, slowing enemies and making all other slows on them more powerful, for maximum crowd control. That's not where this item shines though. It grants a skill called Spiraling Conspiracy. This skill causes a flock of ravens to circle you, dealing damage over time to anything near them.
Hello, Death's Oath. I recognize you. I know you.
Killing enemies, or just by standing near unique enemies, causes the flock to grow, getting larger and larger. For your POE1 players, you can think of this just like a Raven Righteous Fire. That's not all, however. These ravens are also minions, so they fully scale with minion damage and come with their own command skill, Mad Flight. This command skill causes your flock to create a tunnel of deathly damage between a set of illusory mirrors, obliterating anything in between. Purest Flight is a pair of gloves instilled with the purest of fear.
Ooh, this is definitely from Delirium side. Evasion rating, attack speed, chaos damage to attacks, crushing fear, not bad base amounts of evasion rating on the glove, and fear incarnate when you call a target along with crushing fear.
Equipping these causes your enemies to become terrified of you. These
Fear incarnate. Each fear incarnate grants 10% increased calling strike threshold and lasts 10 seconds. Refreshing when you get another fear stack, meaning up to 100 increased calling strike threshold. Refreshed every time you gain one within 10 seconds. And what does crushing fear do?
gloves cause you to gain stacks of fear incarnate when you cull enemies. To aid in your culling, these gloves also come with the skill Crushing Fear. This is similar to the monk skill Killing Palm, except it deals chaos damage, and the amount of damage and area of effect scales drastically based on the power of the enemy. As you use this, gain your stacks of Fear Incarnate, which increases your culling threshold, meaning enemies become easier and easier to cull.
Now, you need to really just put that on gems, and I'm going to break down why. The number one problem with Cull is that culling threshold didn't used to exist in the beginning of the game. And monk skills were bugged on their travel time. You not properly travel to the target. You get fucking knocked off course. Doesn't hit the target that you mean to. Stopped and shortened on your distance. But fucked out of your damage because actually with a buff you're at the level. But on base when you start mapping, your damage is not right there to be able to call outright instinctively. Blah 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 blah. But here's the full problem with this, or rather the problem that existed before this introduction here. There were things that increased Cull range, namely the additional effects on certain gem types once you got to the in-game level of writing the skill gems down at level 5. But why cull them when I can just kill them outright? Which is to say, why do I worry about doing just enough damage to them to cull them when I could just blow the entire screen up? Obviously, The answer to that is charges, specifically monk charges. If the palm skills are going to ask you to do that, and then you're finding ways to create ways of sustaining your charges without having enemies to go off of, you're just fucked. Because if you don't have a way to synergistically create charges, which led to us using Desecrate and Profane Ritual to create power charges in between, you had to have a way to upkeep them and synergistically get them back. This is a solution to that problem, in that everything now becomes easily callable, meaning if you have the ability to do something like, say, Trample Toe. If I hit something in a range around it, they get cold because I got hit by the same attack that did the damage to the AoE, which then causes a pop effect if there's any effect that will pop. So, Chilling Palm, Shattering Palm, the Palm of the Dreamer, any chaos effect that explodes, those things would actually function as intended. And then you stack it with Arm Explosion, and then you stack that with the Cold Spirit buff for the, whatchamacallit, for the Herald of Frost, and you're dealing with serious levels of pop. Pretty good, pretty standard. But you still have to deal with the problem of cold range, which is getting them there. Here you have a skill that basically has its own built-in AoE, so it's the best parts of both of them, but it also comes with chaos damage. Now, this technically just reads as a Chaos Monk, but all types of melees want this, especially if they're trying to get power charges to use monk skills.
Even to the point of being able to instantly kill some monsters from full life. Sylvan's effigy.
So ultimately, you're creating an archetype where now you can actually clear a map, and basically everything should die because it's getting touched by you. There's booty touch, booty touch, booty touch, booty touch, all the time. Pretty funny, pretty stupid, but pretty funny. And pretty good. It's not bad. It could probably use some work. It's probably going to get broken on day one, as people try to find a way to use this combined with things like Flicker Strike. But let's save that for the 29th. Okay, Sylvan's Effigy. Break it down to me, Mark.
Is a scepter for those wanting to run companions. It allows you to have any number of companions of different types, instead of the normal restriction of just one per type. But what makes this cool is the Asmerian Wolf Companion it comes with. This is a persistent minion that bites foes to maim them, leaps to cause bleeding, and even howls to buff nearby allies. Additionally, it comes with the command skill Eternal Hunt, which when used it will howl, calling on the spirits to manifest spectral wolves to ambush all foes around you. Liminal Coil is a
Pretty cool.
crazy wand. It allows you to apply as many curses as you please, but those curses will have no effect. What's the point then? 2 reasons. Firstly, your spells gain a bunch of extra physical and chaos damage for each curse on enemies. Secondly, is the skill it grants called Coiling Bolts. This skill is a projectile spell that fires coiling physical and chaos projectiles with every cast.
Wonders! Wonders! Wonders!
What makes this skill truly special though, is that it will split and chain through every cursed enemy, causing an absolute ruckus. See for yourself.
So, this is a Wander archetype. Blasphemous curses on yourself. You can apply them with no limitation, but they have no effect. Throw. Just and it just fucks everything. Just damage. Now, your defenses are probably going to be shit because of this. But this is a lot of potential power to be throwing at somebody. We'll have to see what the scaling looks like.
Periphery is a unique bow, which utilizes all the powers of the Asmerian spirits by dealing damage of all elements.
Hello, Doomfletch. How are you doing? Nice to see you in Path of Exile 2. With extra attack speed, and this time instead, elemental hits contribute to flammability, ignite, and chill magnitudes with freeze buildup and shock chance.
And all elements can cause all ailments. The coolest thing about this bow, however, is the Asmerian Swarm skill. These are minions that are summoned when you kill enemies. They will pursue all nearby enemies, damaging them and inflicting a debuff on them that boosts your elemental damage even further. Watch as you mow enemies down, and the swarms of Asmerian wisps aid you, melting enemies one screen at a time. The Ordained is a new spear.
New Grand Spear base. Spear throw, Righteous Descent, increased melee strike range. A lot of physical, a lot of lightning, a lot of crit. Life leech recovered based on your lightning damage, as well as physical damage. So nice of you to give us back a form of fucking life leech with elemental, and a fragment of divinity in your presence every 4 seconds.
Mastering in physical and lightning damage, with high critical strike chance too. This spear allows you to leech life not only from physical damage, but lightning too. It also creates a fragment of divinity nearby periodically. What are those? Well, this spear has the skill Righteous Descent, which is an epic, divine leap, aided by angelic wings. If you use this skill when a fragment of divinity is nearby, it will become empowered, dealing significantly more damage, gaining massive area of effect, and bypassing its cooldown. When fighting a boss, let a bunch of the fragments spawn, and then just unleash your divine havoc, obliterating them.
Very powerful way to grant any spear user who wants to use this a way to actually get access to. I don't know if it'll take you out of combat and technically make you exiled, but what it will do is it's going to give you a strong spear base that is going to give you a lot of power that otherwise you would have a very hard time accessing through crafting your own rare spear. So, going back to the stat page, you don't have any additional physical on this weapon. So in terms of a spear, you're talking about something that has a very powerful percentage increased damage, but it has no base increased damage. So you could make a rare spear that has all of the juice of all of the additional upgrades that you can make through an Abysscraft scene. Get a base, get another base, slam a base together multiple times until you find hybrid, then potentially take that base that might be blue, because unfortunately now all recombinations I think are going to roll yellow. Find recombination base, take it, find the ability to augment it with something that will give you a guaranteed opportunity for what we would call fracture crafting. Find the hybrid, hit it, and upgrade it with the base amount. Do the separation craft to block off opportunity chances of what you might lose, to instead now gain opportunities on what you're going to be adding with your removals, and then Omen of Light and Omen of fucking what is it called? Omen of Light to wipe it off, but also the Omen of Abyssal Echoes crafting with higher tier bone pieces to make a spear that's going to roll the highest tier of pure percentage craft possible. That would be what you would do if you wanted to make a really strong spear, period. With just the physical rolls, and increased attack speed, and increased crit chance, and then getting the socket and putting accuracy rating inside of it to increase the base damage on an Amazon who will be using that system to increase her base crit. That's what you would do if you wanted to make a rare spear. This spear is instead going to give you a lot of potential power to leech off of things without you needing to build for it very specifically hard. It's a level 90 spear, and it's not really asking for a lot in your stat tree. 68 strength and 109 dex at level 90 is nothing. But in trade for a flat roll, you're basically getting an additional roll added on this. Now it looks like on that tree it was an Amazon using the attacks. So Amazons are going to get flat damage based on accuracy anyways. Open this with a socket, double socket, throw them in there, and you're pretty much raring to go anyways. So that's practically nothing. Additional damage from either having a shrine buff in hand or using an actual shield, armor shield, or buckler to deflect. And you're looking at a lot of potential DPS. Like, you could get some added fire here with Chunabog. You could get added fire period from, well, technically any added element from any of them. So, Palm of the Dreamer, get the lightning version, you're raring to go, out of the gate. Certainly you're going to want to have something to do deflection, but who knows, who cares? Maybe you're just using the bleed version and you're not trying to get near anything like that. For real, for real. Anyways.
Boss, let a bunch of the fragments spawn, and then just unleash your divine havoc, obliterating them. Last, but not least, we have a new unique jewel. Voices.
Hello, Voices. How you doing?
Voices is simple. It consumes 1 jewel slot to add more. There are versions that add 2 jewel slots, 3 jewel slots, and for those who are absurdly lucky or rich, one with 4 jewel slots. Equip it and notice the slots appear next to your character's portrait in the center.
It's acting as a way to basically get access to similar shit that probably it's still going to come from Delirium. And give you access to more power through your jewels. I don't know if it'll come from Uber versions. Because it sounds like once you do the quest version, you're going to get access to mapping pinnacle versions that aren't truly Ubers. And they're not Ubas. But okay, whatever. Cool. Based. You can find those jewels that you can perfectly craft, and then after perfectly crafting them, you can buy a fucking Voices, probably from the Trade League, and get a version that lets you socket all of them together. Seems like it goes inside the jewel slots, and it doesn't seem that it said it was limited. Yeah, it's limited to 1. So any and every character that can afford getting a Voices, you get up to +1, +2, or +3 jewel slots in trade for the 1 jewel slot.
One with 4 jewel slots. Equip it and notice the slots appear next to your character's portrait in the center.
The question I have is, can you put Time Lost in it? And if you can put Time Lost in it, can you put Time Lost diamonds?
One of the things we are concerned about is how long it takes for experienced players to replay through the game in each new league.
14 days. 14 days. With only one form of content that was available in the end game, and then everything else is based on what we actually want to do. 14 days. 14 days, 7 hours in campaign, 2 weeks, a fortnight, if you will. And then you're probably bored at that point. Because, okay, either I roll another character or I go pivot to some other content, is what you're thinking. Because that's what everybody does. Some are going to play for longer if they have more desire to play with it. They're going to probably be they're going to be elongated to play for longer if they're also playing with other people in general. But in the general sense, you're talking about levels of distraction, levels of entertainment and distraction, and all those things added together really just adds to the pinnacle of what would be fun versus the boredom of I'm waiting for something to happen that's actually valuable, that gives me a reason to continue pushing. Because at that point, I will have seen everything. Most skilled players will have seen everything. Let's see what Mark thinks.
As we learned from Path of Exile 1, one of the things that can really help is having elements in the campaign that tell you where to go.
And these are the pathfind mechanics that we're talking about.
If you know what to look for. We'll cover just one example per act for acts 1 to 3, but there are many more than just these. For example, Hunting Grounds in Act 1 is a large, sparse area, containing multiple entrances and landmark encounters. Here's an example of some of the changes we've made here. Finding the ritual encounter in this area isn't too difficult. Now after completing it, a trail of locusts will lead to the entrance to Freythorn. Just follow it and find the source of the evil.
Hilarious.
You may also find corpses of dead animals, killed and pecked at by the crowbell. You'll notice a trail of blood leading away from them. Follow the trail and it will lead directly to the boss. We even put a signpost on the road to tell you which way to go to find Ogham Village.
Kappa.
In Act 2, in the Mastodon Badlands, you need to find the Lightless Caverns and track down the Abyssal. Now to make this quicker, in the level you'll find these cracks. Just follow them, and it will take you right to their lair, allowing you to find and unlock the Well of Souls. In Act 3, the jungle areas have camps of explorers to sell you items. However, they are now even more useful. By talking to the explorers, they will point towards the next area. Not only that, but it will also reveal it on the minimap, so you can know exactly where to go.
Kappa.
These are just some examples. We plan to do more and
then, in front of these altars here inside of Act 2, inside the area that leads to the quest requirement of going into the Giant's Canyon, you've now made it that you have a teleport effect in front of these seals, so that you don't have to walk back to them. Now, we already added the teleportation with the checkpoint system, which is going to help with backtracking even more. But this is just, okay, now we have the ability to checkpoint and checkpoint and checkpoint and checkpoint, but I still can't find the door. Now they've added pathfinding. So basically, read your fucking maps. And learn how to read your fucking maps.
but it will also reveal it on the minimap, so you can know exactly where to go.
Anti-frustration feature for sure.
These are just some examples. We plan to do more and more of these over time in order to streamline the experience. Now, as this is an in-game expansion, it makes sense that we would work on Atlas QOL. We've added a search box that updates live as you type. Have a specific map you want to run? Now they will be much easier to find. If there are multiple maps, hitting enter will move you from map to map. Now, making a character build in Path of Exile 2 can be pretty complex. And instead of designing a build yourself, many players enjoy following online build guides. We have a pretty awesome community that has built many tools over the years for designing builds, but we wanted to improve the experience of following them.
By putting them in the game so you don't have to go back and forth.
So, we are introducing a new build guide system directly into the game client. Here's how it works. Community creators who write build guides can now create a new file format, a build file. Once downloaded, the builds appear in the in-game client, and selecting one will show you everything you need to know to make that build. So you can see all the passives you need to allocate, ascendancy points you need to take, skill gems you need to equip, and recommendations for all the support gems you need to use as well. For items, the build designer can specify which uniques to use in each slot, or if needed, just add some notes to the item slot to say what kind of item you need. In fact, build creators can add notes to just about any of these areas, allowing them to explain different trade-offs in context, or just give more info about how these things should be used. They can also give level ranges to each element, allowing recommendations to change over time. Great for builds that need to respec after they reach a certain level. Now, all of this is written in a standardized build format that creators can use, and we imagine that a lot of community build tools will be updated to add support for this format. Now that we have trade market searching built into the in-game client, we have added the ability to price check items you can find more easily. Control-Alt-clicking an item will now search for it on the trade market.
Oh, they just destroyed the economy of like 5 different trade tools all at once with that one change.
Showing you the current prices.
Now this is more for the people who are going to be starting completely raw, who can see this, and it's now competitive to using things like Unbound, POE3, and POE 2.
For rare items, it's handy to exclude some mods, so we added the ability to enable and disable each mod so you can see what effect each one has on the price. Next up, we're going to be talking about the new supporter packs for Return of the Ancients.
Bring out your wallets, time to spend money!
We're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Blood Reaver and Divinity packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Blood Reaver series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Let blood fuel your bloodshed. The Exsanguinator weapon effect draws the blood of enemies you've slain and funnels it into your weapons. Turn the appearance of your endurance, frenzy, and power charges into orbiting globules of blood with the Blood Reaver charges. While your charges are active, these blood orbs will grow in size when you absorb more blood from nearby enemies. There are options to have pure blood charges, or charges that still display which kind of charge they are at their core.
You really shouldn't be selling them to be pure blood charges, because unless the player is going to be looking at the active, they probably want to go off of the color. But I suppose decisions and choices are good too.
A taste for blood doesn't negate a taste for style. The Elite Blood Reaver armor features crimson leathers and golden accents to set yourself apart from uncivilized leeches. It also features a back attachment, fashioned out of the wing of a colossal bat. Alongside every Blood Reaver is their trusted gargoyle pet. In true gargoyle fashion, they take the form of a stone statue when you are idle, leaping into action when you're on the move again. What good is immortality if you don't have a vast mansion to come home to at the end of the day? The Eternal Blood Reaver supporter pack contains the Blood Reaver Manor Hideout. This exquisite two-story estate features an organ, a grand dining table, and cages for your visitors.
Capo.
You can alter the walls to create as many or few rooms as you like. Last but not least, the Servant of the Manor, eternally bound to the Order of the Blood Reavers. This henchman will manage your store, so you can spend more time spilling blood.
Stop that. We won't disappoint you. But if we do, you've our permission to beat us most violently.
The Divinity Pack series also...
Twitch BDSM pack download. Move over, Mork Pie. We've got pay pigs in Path of Exile now. Kill me.
contains 6 exclusive microtransactions. Call on Divinity to aid you in eluding enemy hits with the Divinity Dodge Roll effect. As you sprint, actual Divine Lightning wings will form out of your back, leaving a trail of radiance as you engage or escape from combat. For situations that are too dicey, call on the gods above to send down the Storm of Divinity portal to create a safe passage for you to retreat through. Adorn yourself with the Knight of Divinity armor set, a highly revered attire only bestowed to those deemed worthy for the divine cause. Equipping the Divine Surge character effect empowers you with a storm of divine energy. Using skills causes the storm to burst from your character, spilling raw divinity into the area around you.
Yeah, it's not that
Art of
impressive.
Divinity wings are the final piece remaining to emphasize the force divinity has over this realm. This ancient precursor machine was found locked away in a highly guarded vault.
Honestly, the best part of that pack happens to be the Genesis map, and the best part of the other pack happens to be the entire hideout. I don't like that. Those aren't those necessarily good all-arounder packs. It's not good. It's not great. I don't like it.
Its original purpose is unclear, but it has been altered to fuel your maps using the pure, everlasting divinity within the statue. The pillars surrounding represent how many portals you have left for your map. This map device also tracks your progress as you complete the new Origins of Divinity storyline, added this expansion. Additionally, all microtransactions from the supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. On release weekend, we will also be releasing the Return of the Ancients mystery box, which will contain 2 armor sets, a set of map devices for your in-game adventures, a new tracking scroll that records the amount of currency you've gained from the currency exchange or your shop, and much more, like a set of finisher effects and affinity stashes. That's not all, however. The Fragment stash tab is finally coming to Path of Exile 2.
Yes! It is really annoying putting everything inside of broken tabs. This is really good for me and everybody else who runs a lot of Breach and a lot of Expedition. It is fucking infuriating. Well, and Lyrium. It is fucking infuriating having to track down which of the tabs the fragments are in. Because it's not just that, it's the fragments, it's the tablets, and the trial pieces. They clog so much useful inventory space because of the fact it wasn't there yet. Now it's here.
And with it comes some tabception. Inside this one tab, there's a tab for your various boss key fragments. There's also a tab for all your precursor tablets, with each type of tablet getting 6 tabs of storage.
I would rather not explain how many tabs I had specifically dedicated to organizing these. I was able to keep them under 1 per, but it was up to 4 at some point in time. Somebody can go back on my streams and can find them. It was a fucking problem. I had to use a fucking quad tab at one point.
Finally, there's a tab for your Jin barriers and inscribed ultimatums.
I don't even mention those. Oh, for fucking God. Oh, please redesign the extended trials. Obviously, they're not going to redo the barriers. You don't need to redo Sanctum. Sanctum is fine at this point now. But you have to rework how we're going to do the trials for the Trial of Chaos. It is so fucking infuriating collecting the Cowardly, the other one, and the other one to try to combine all these things together that then after 4 runs, or 3 runs total, on the 4th run, to be able to go and fight the Trial Master. It is so fucking bad. It is so horrible. You have to condense it somehow.
Both of which get their own 6 tabs. That's a lot of tabs.
So that's everything in 050. This is by far the biggest update we've ever made to POE1 or 2. New in-game storylines, pinnacle bosses, crafting systems, items, ascendancy classes, and so much more. Now, because this update contains so much in-game content, we're doing significantly more testing than usual. For that to happen, we're taking a little longer than usual between the announcement and the release. 050 will be released in 3 weeks on May the 29th, with the patch notes being released on the Friday before that, on May 21st. But there's just one more thing to talk about. Now that the endgame is up to scratch, we have to start talking about our plan for 1.0 release. The feedback we've had during early access has been critical for making all the improvements that we'll be making to the game. At the same time, we had to create enough in-game content to make an ARPG that can call itself a successor to Path of Exile 1. Well, with 050, we now believe we have reached that point, and so this is going to be the last full-size league during early access. That's right, the next big update is going to be 1.0. Now, normally we would do our next big content release in August, but in the run-up to full release, our plans take a little longer on this one. As big as 050 is, 1.0 is even bigger. So we'll be launching 1.0 this year sometime after ExileCon. But that doesn't mean we won't...
ExileCon's in November, I believe. So, fiscal quarter 4. November, or probably, possibly. Let me double check myself. Wait a minute. Let me double check myself. 3, 6, 4, 5, I need be running. I want to see one pulling on the trigger. I want to see because I want mine. Never. Okay, Path of Exile 2. News. Featured news. ExileCon. 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 ExileCon, 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 ExileCon. I'm not seeing ExileCon here. Yes, November 7th. It's November 7th and 8th by NZT time. So, November, December. Sometime after that, this year means December. So, probably December.
Won't be doing updates in the meantime. In this final phase, we have a lot of things to polish throughout the game and balance to improve. I'm sure there'll also be feedback about the new endgame that we need to incorporate too. The difference is that the focus is not going to be on adding more content like the previous updates, it's going to be on improving what we already have. But we still want to encourage people to try out all the balance changes and improvements that we're making. So we're going to be running a few event leagues during this phase alongside each update. Think remixes of existing mechanics or features.
So the same shit that we're already doing in Path of Exile 1. So that people don't get bored and say like, game's dead for a month.
Speaking of ExileCon, don't forget to pencil it in on the weekend of November the 7th in New Zealand.
And I can't
ExileCon is a
go.
gathering of our players, and a chance for us to showcase everything we'll be working on for both Path of Exile 1 and 2. And this one will be particularly important for us, since we finally get to unveil some of the coolest content that we've been working on for a while now with Act 5 and 6. Tickets for the in-person event are currently sold out, but don't worry, all the announcements and talks are going to be streamed online for all of you to watch.
Yay. And that's the end of the stream. Mainly because that's the end of the video that they had for it, because they went immediately into Tavern Talk. Anyways. That's a lot of shit. 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 Where do I even begin going through the density of that? Fuck me. I think the biggest one that impresses upon me is the fact that they have reworked Ritual to be unique items and omens only. If currency can still pop up in the tab and be purchased, that's cool too. But by making it so that I have the ability to do either uniques or omens, omen gathering to actually do metacrafting is going to be faster. Number one. Number two, being able to pull just raw uniques, you might get geared faster than usual just with unique pieces. Good enough to get through the first 10 tiers of maps. Might even gear you to be able to do league starters into other content. Unfortunately, it does not look like there's anybody here who wanted to come watch. And I'm pretty sure they've already started doing raids. So let me not miss out on any more raids, since there's only a week left for Charter WoW. Now, tomorrow, I have mentioned already, and I will repeat that in the server, because I don't know if anyone's here listening. I've already said in the server that I've been bogged down with medical updates for my mother. I'm so sorry, everyone, but you guys are not as important as my mother, okay? I'm sorry. You guys are not as important as mi madre. So, I have things planned to discuss tomorrow, and to do tomorrow, and then we are going to try to incentivize things, because I now have 2 of these fucking things. We got to figure out how to give these away. Because one of our players did not accept it at the end of the last tournament. So before we start the next tournament, we discuss this shit. Either who, I will see you all later. I love you all. Goodbye. And get excited and get ready for some crazy ass bullshit at the end of March. Or excuse me, at the end of May. And now I go into the ether as I click the button.